People called him a god among humans because this wise soul had cracked every secret hidden in the heavenly realm. God shouldn't be spilling blood onto the ground. With lungs burning, this so-called divine mage clamps a hand to his chest, utterly helpless against an illness no spell can touch. Everyone worshipped him as unbeatable, but tonight his own body betrays him. Right then, the charm he'd hidden starts falling apart like it's unraveling in midair, and the moment he opens his eyes, the mage's gaze snaps straight to his hands. Hold up, those are tiny baby hands, and the mage can't stop staring, still completely blown away by his brand new look. When she strolls in and gently scoops him up, lifting him out of sleep right as he starts to stir. A guy strolls in, flashing a grin, and immediately asks the woman how Lucian's doing, yet even though he just got up, Lucian's eyes look heavy and drowsy. The baby mage stares at the man and woman chatting, and right away he can feel the happiness pouring off them. These are his new parents. Now they call him Lucian. With his hand lifted just a little, the young mage feels it, silky, perfect skin, and it hits him like a punch. This life is nothing like his old one, and right as Lucian is about to dig deeper, something's about to happen. Right in front of him, another magical creature suddenly flipped upside down out of nowhere. Lucian flailed his hands wildly to get his parents' attention, because an unexpected visitor had just crashed the moment. The man just cackles and waves Lucian's warnings away. He's already blocked Lucian's parents from seeing him or even understanding the nonsense their baby blurts out. Now it's time to introduce him, after everyone welcomed the wise one in his new form with the name Lucian. The man steps forward and claims he's what everyone out there calls God. Lucian furrowed his brow, stunned. How could this god know him so well? The mischievous god flashes him a wink, and in that single look, boom, he reveals he's been keeping tabs on the sage, every regret and every dream. God watched every single detail play out from the sage's past life. As the sage's final breaths rattled out, God was right there, watching every second. He showed up to see the wise old man, alone, fading fast, and haunted by the one regret that he never once took a student. Even so, the wise man knew the truth in his bones. No matter how much he shared, nobody would ever really get his wisdom or skills. So he locked everything away and poured all his time and energy into mastering magic. At that point, the sage brushed off every ounce of criticism about his weird, off-the-wall ways. But the brutal catch is this: the moment he dies, every spell and potion he brewed vanishes with him, and everything he ever created is gone for good. So he swore that in his next life he'd straighten his path, because the wise one vows to scatter his knowledge and gifts everywhere, lighting up the world of magic and truly changing it. He'll use his magical powers to make sure everyone gets a chance at a truly awesome life. If he finds someone special, he's ready to marry and build a family, no hesitation. But if that path isn't there, the wise one steps up and commits to mentoring a student instead. Looks like the sage's candle is finally finished, burned down to nothing, and the cruel twist: the wise man stood alone, never dreaming his last moments would come with nobody beside him. The deity saw it all unfold, and when he stared into the sage's faces, he backed the wish with his whole heart. He was determined to leave a permanent mark in the realm of magic. God clocked it instantly. Today's magical tech was advancing way slower than anyone expected. He felt the exact same drive and mission as the sage. To help them both chase their dreams, the god hands the sage a special blessing, Lucian, so he can power through his journey with help at his side. Lucian, utterly baffled, watches as the god's finger plants on his forehead, and a fierce glow bursts from the touch. And then Lucian lifts his hand straight to his own forehead, because he's locked in tight, listening as the god lays out the whole tale of how Lucian chased his power, sharpened his skills, and forged his magic. Lucian used to be a total oddball and a reckless rebel. Then, somehow, he stormed his way to becoming the mage of the divine realm. So wild and unstoppable that even a god has to nod in respect. He strolls up to the door and says goodbye to Lucian, then the messenger of the gods leans in and blesses him with good fortune for his new life. Lucian freezes in shock, staring at the door like it's impossible. Did that god seriously just stroll in through the front entrance like he belongs here? Luckily, only one of Lucian's parents watched the door swing wide and slam shut. Now, back to this loving house. Right away, Dad starts poking Lucian's cheek. When Lucian's dad clocks his sudden silence, he laughs at how calm their little baby is, barely a peep, no noise at all, because just a moment ago, Lucian was bursting with energy. His dad goes all in on cheering Lucian up, praising him like he's a total genius. Meanwhile, his mom cradles him with warm affection, and to her, it doesn't matter who Lucien is, only that he grows up healthy and strong. Right on cue, the appraiser arrives and shoots a question, "Are you Lucien? I thought I'd be meeting you." Mother beams with joy and right after the appraiser's instructions, lays Lucien onto the bed. The appraiser is seconds away from sizing up Lucien and putting his true abilities to the test. With Lucien finally settled on the bed, his mom can't stop gushing about what kind of talent he might have, and even his dad is already eyeing the terrifying possibility that Lucien could grow into a powerful mage. Careful what you wish for. Right as the smile hits his face, the appraiser praises the mom and dad as loving, devoted parents, then makes it crystal clear they're not tied to any noble bloodline at all. The appraiser kicks off her assessment of Lucien and guilt already gnaws at him, because he knows he'll have to bury his real talent before she discovers it. This tiny genius is using a hiding spell to shut down the appraiser's magic before it can even work. The appraiser's face twists in confusion because she can't make out a single thing clearly. Meanwhile, Lucien tries to fire up his appraisal magic on himself, and it's wild. The concealment magic is actually masking his skills too. Lucien summons his stats. Bam, a screen flashes in front of him and he taps through fast, checking every spell he can fire right now because the sheer number of skills he's got is insane. He can bend space, forge deadly gear, cast wild enchantments, brew alchemy, twist gravity at will, and even get divine protection from God. Lucien realizes what the god was really trying to do. This blessing isn't just luck, it's there to slam the door on any bad fortune. God chose Lucien and gifted him the power to wield all kinds of magic. But Lucien totally misses. He blurted his thoughts out loud and the whole room froze because they heard Lucien speak but they just couldn't swallow it, not yet. Then Lucien spoke again, eyes sharp with curiosity, wondering what kind of magic he could pull off with his own body right now. His parents rushed to the crib, speechless at what they'd just discovered. Could their kid really be a genius? Lucien's words hit the appraiser so hard that her legs turned to jelly. Lucien finally gets it. God must have lifted the spell on his parents, which is why his message can finally reach them. So he steels himself, knowing these people will take care of him, and he goes to greet his parents the way he should. Lucien snaps his shadow double magic into place, perfect for when someone's hurt or stuck, and this time the shadow copies exactly what they'd normally do, lifting the baby upright in front of his parents. Right as the adults open their mouths to speak, Lucien beamed and greeted his mom and dad with all the warmth in the world, begging them not to freak out over something that's way too small to be scary. Then he bowed his head and begged for their kindness because they were going to be stuck taking care of him for a while. Lucien's parents can't stop staring at how polite he is, like they're sitting across from someone who could instantly command them to drop everything and take a seat. Lucien thrusts himself up into the sky, grinning like crazy because this magic is exactly the kind of power he can use. His parents stare in pure awe, stunned by how noble their son looks. Then Lucien plops himself down and somehow their little hero still looks adorable floating there in midair. The appraiser is frozen in total shock, stomach turning after a spell of rebirth, because no matter what you do, you don't get to choose your parents. And somehow Lucien caught a break, kind, caring souls stuck by him. As the mother draws Lucien in with a gentle pull, the baby sage tucks into her chest and drifts off, breathing slow as sleep takes over. And just like that, his brand new life kicked off. 6 years later. Lucien is 6 years old now and he's grinning as he dives headfirst into a picture book like it's pure treasure. Out of nowhere, his mom pops in and grills him for what he wants for dinner, using leftover meat from yesterday. Lucy bursts into agreement, nodding eagerly. Over the past 6 years with his new family, he's forged a deep understanding of every single one of them. The Gilder family doesn't just live on the land, they farm it, day after day, growing their livelihood from the ground up. Sammy is the dad, Sophia is the mom, and the three of them live in a small, quiet house where peace actually feels real. Even with pockets that don't exactly overflow, Lucien feels totally content, because having loving parents like that is the best kind of wealth. But here's the problem: his family, the Gildors, has 0 books, not a single one, and so far Lucien hasn't uncovered a thing about where he even is. He managed to snag a few books from the old man because Mr. Forsen lives just 2 houses away, but Lucien is stuck with nothing but picture books since Mr. Forsen thinks history is too complicated for a 6-year-old. As Sophia flips through a picture book, one tiny detail suddenly snaps her attention and pulls her in. She points at a photo of a mountain with no peak, just a jagged stump, and that's Full Moon Mountain, a legendary spot all across the Gastana kingdom. They say a dragon once snored so viciously in its sleep about 500 years ago that it blasted the top right off a mountain. Sophia's favorite memory is the day she and Sammy visited that tourist spot right before they tied the knot. Sophia's bright smile snaps into full-blown panic when she sees Lucian slam his head into the book. His mom's heart drops, afraid his stomach might start hurting. Luke and Lucian quietly reassure their mom that they're okay. Deep down, he's absolutely mortified by what really went down on that mountain in his past life. Lucian once sneezed and wiped out a whole chunk of the mountain like it was nothing. No way he tells his mom about that, especially since it happened 500 years ago. So basically, it's the very same country Lucian used to live in, only now the name's been changing for years and he doesn't even recognize it. Lucian leans in and tells Sophia he's about to head out to deliver the picture book. With Sophia giving him the green light, Lucian rushes back to Mr. Forsen's place. As he strides along, the shock of what he just uncovered keeps replaying in his mind. Because it's been 500 years since he wiped out every last trace of that ridiculous sneeze fiasco in the royal city. Lucian isn't convinced he can pull that off again in his current body, because when he was just a baby and got his magical evaluation, the reaction wrecked him with a brutal fever and he was stuck in bed for days. Even with raw talent, a kid's body can't handle it all at once, so Lucian's been grinding nonstop, slowly training himself to survive his insane magical strength. Now that Lucian hits 6 years old, he's finally ready to start unleashing some seriously advanced spells. He's finally arrived at Mr. Lucian slams his knuckles on Forsen's front door, and when the old man finally opens it, Lucian strides in and flashes a warm, friendly greeting. Mr. Forsen spots the book in Lucian's hand and realizes, instantly, that this kid's already torn through every last page. After thanking Mr. Forsen for the book, Lucian hands it right back to him. The old man leans in and asks the young sage, "So, did you like the book?" Lucian flashes an awkward smile, then admits down to the bone that he didn't enjoy it at all. Mr. Force and Chuckles figured that book was too tough for Lucian to wrap his head around. He stares at the tidy rows of books on his shelf, then turns to Lucian and asks which one he wants to bring home next. Lucian leans in and asks if Mr. Forsen has any books on magic. Chuckling again, Mr. Forcian boasts that he's got a stash of incredibly useful books, but then he admits the cruel truth: magic books usually end up only in wealthy families. This totally throws Lucian for a loop. He grew up in an era where most homes only had a few books stacked on the shelves. Right out of nowhere, Anna, Mr. Fossen's granddaughter, bursts in and cuts them off, and with a grin, Mr. Fossen asks her if she wants to jump into a game with him. Anna shrugs him off and heads straight to Lucian, asking if he wants to play. Mr. Forsen is furious over how his granddaughter reacted, and he's sulking all alone in the corner. Then he pulls Lucian aside, pleading for him to spend time playing with Anna as a heartfelt thank you for lending him the book. Anna and Lucian slip outside to chill by a tree, then Anna leans in and asks Lucian straight up if he comes from a noble family. He shakes his head and snaps no, claiming he's the farmer's oldest son, yet Anna won't let it go. She keeps pressing, demanding to know why he was talking with Gramps about magic earlier. Lucian digs up a mind-blowing secret about this era, then Anna drops the bombshell: only the nobility are allowed to wield magic. Lucian can't wrap his head around it at all, so he even tells Anna she must have misheard him. But Anna digs in her heels, repeating it again, and this time she turns her words straight to Mr. Fordson too. Magic is locked behind nobility, only the truly born to greatness can wield it. Even if they threw everything they had at it, regular people like them still couldn't pull it off. Lucian still doesn't buy it. He's convinced this is just another trick. Maybe Mr. did it, or maybe Forsen's too old and drifted off into a nap. How could that possibly be true when magic is supposed to be for everyone, even the oldest son of a farmer like him? It's like breathing. Everyone has a way to tap into magic, no matter who you are. With his arms crossed, Lucian realizes it all comes down to what kind of magic people can wield, and how brutally hard it can be for them, no matter what anyone says. Back then, everyone understood that, but Lucian can't believe how much everything's shifted since. Just look at him, born into a farming family, and yet he wields magic like it's nothing. He snaps his mind back the moment Anna locks eyes with him, and she steps forward like she's about to change everything for Lucian. And in a hushed voice, he asks her if she'll teach him magic too. And Lucian finally agrees. Anna squeals with pure excitement and practically begs him to show her how. Lucian starts racking his brain, hunting for a brand of magic Anna can actually learn, something simple enough for a kid. Then he remembers the hand spinner's magic, an easy, no-fuss trick that took off like wildfire with the kids back in Lucian's day. Lucian opens his hand and a swirling breeze whips into the air like it's alive, making Anna gasp in pure awe. Curious about his trick, she shoots the question and the young sage can't wait. He jumps at the chance to show her how he did it. She has to pull magical energy into her own hand first, and that first spark is brutally hard for Anna to get going. She pours every last bit of magic into her hand, squeezing out power like it's the only thing that matters. But then nothing hits, no explosions, no twists, just pure silence. Sobbing, Anna screams in pure frustration, like she can't take it anymore. Seeing Anna break down in tears makes Lucian's gut twist, because back when they were kids, they could pull off that simple magic trick for pure fun, so why in today's world aren't kids being taught magic anymore? Lucian suddenly realizes it all makes sense now. People's knowledge has shifted over the last 500 years, and then it hits him. His parents were stunned to see him throw magic like it was second nature. Right then, Anna's sobs cut off the moment she hears a voice right beside her. Together, they chase the sound and stumble on a wounded animal. Lucian can't name the species, but he's dead certain of one thing: it's hurting bad. Lucian warns Anna to stay clear, because that innocent act might just be a monster wearing a mask. He drops into a crouch and unleashes his magic, hunting down exactly what kind of creature this is. I can't believe it, it's actually a fairy. Fairy, most forest fairies look like living plants, but this one looks like a wild mix of creature and spirit. The fairy sobs in pain and Anna's eyes burn as tears spill up again. Then Lucian steps in and swears he'll help the fairy, even naming it Ron. Lucian thrusts his healing magic toward Ron and a blazing warm light surges through, sealing Ron's wounds. Before long, Ron is beaming with joy as he flashes a grin at Lucian and Anna. Ron is on his feet again, and Anna can't stop smiling now that the fairy finally feels better. Lucian tells Ron to freeze in place, because all he managed to hand out was basic first aid. Ron's injury still wouldn't fully heal, so he desperately needed a healing potion, like right there. The second potions get mentioned. Anna yanks out the exact one she's been holding onto. Anna's grandpa handed it to her just for emergencies, and yeah, Anna's the pampered granddaughter who never goes without. He stared at the potion, eyes locked on it. Lucian squints at the murkiness and knows what it really means: it's trash quality, and even if he shoved it to Ron, nothing would magically change. They snap their attention to a squad of men hunting a deadly boar. Anna and Lucian are in a seriously bad spot right now, and it's getting worse by the second. As the boar comes roaring in, charging straight at them. Those massive tusks and that brutal glare are charging straight at them. But Anna is so terrified she feels glued to the ground, like she can't move an inch. No other choice remained. While Lucian fights for cover with magic, he snatches a small branch and reshapes it with his power, twisting its structure into a new form. Turns that tiny seedling into a towering tree, big enough to slam the death boar's brutal charge to a stop. Lucian snaps his fingers and slams ignite into the air, then a blazing inferno erupts and devours the creature. Men froze in stunned silence, completely speechless. The death boar gets instantly obliterated, turning to ashes in the blink of an eye. They snap to the truth fast. Lucian's just the son of a Gildor farmer and now they're totally thrown off. How is this kid even casting magic if he's not noble? Before they can catch their breath, an armored man barrels up to the scene. He burst in because someone had screamed for help. And he's left reeling when he realizes the deadly boar is gone, replaced by a perfectly cooked roast. The instant Lucian lays eyes on the soldier, he rockets over, desperate to pry out anything he knows about magic. He blurts that he cooked the boar with ignite, and the soldier is left staring in stunned disbelief. The soldier refuses to believe Lucian just used magic, because in his mind, that kind of power only belongs to nobles. No one, no matter how hard they try, can wield magic like that, and the soldier can't resist laughing at Lucian, calling his story pure lies. His fists clench so hard they looked ready to explode. Lucian finally clocks that this moment is different, like insanely rare. Looks like not a single one of them even thinks to throw healing magic for the injured, or unleashing elemental magic to mend fallen trees and stitch broken homes back together. So what's the world been like for the full 500 years since Lucian died? Lucian pauses, eyes narrowed, running through every wild possibility that could explain what's going on. Anna barrels over to him with Ron right on her heels. She blurted out her gratitude to the young sage who had just pulled her from danger. Her eyes lit up like fireworks as she leaned toward Lucian, buzzing with how absolutely incredible magic really is. She grins as she recalls how the wood whipped through the air with a loud whoosh, and how the fire went foo asterisk like it was alive. That kind of excitement hit Anna hard. She's a kid who's totally obsessed with one thing, using magic just like Lucian. When Anna finally spoke up, Lucian's eyes widened, because it clicked that this was exactly what the god had been talking about back in his childhood. The magical tech of this era isn't moving as fast as he dreamed, and the god is already panicking. Lucian softly ruffles Anna's hair and tells her straight up, if she keeps pushing with grit and determination, she'll reach every goal she sets. Magic should be easy for everyone to touch, so why are people here stumbling over even the tiniest spells, and why does Lucian still have a mountain to climb? Magic only answers the call of noble blood. Regular people are locked out. Even with every question he throws out, Lucian refuses to accept that magic is stuck in this broken state. Lucian clenched his resolve and vowed to flip his whole world upside down. He's about to smash old beliefs and blow up every fixed idea. He vowed to forge a world where anyone could learn magic and use it to level up their lives for real. Looking back, Lucian would always whip out magic and trace wild shapes in the air like he was painting reality. People shrugged and called it just another day for Lucian the Sage, but the truth is he's always buzzing, so he scribbles magical symbols everywhere he goes. That's exactly what he's doing today. Lucian snaps his hand out, magic swirls into him, and he starts scribbling notes right there in the air. Back then, everyone did it the same way, no paper, no pens. Notes weren't needed, they just scribbled the info in thin air, then compressed it so they could carry it with them. As young Lucian finishes his sketch, he glances at Anna, his student, and you can tell this method is pure gold. Who says she can only see a wall? Lucian's body locks up, he's frozen in place. He abruptly stops his excited scribbling, then reaches out and tries to draw in the air, asking his mom if she can see it. Sophia just grins and teases if Lucian's trying a brand new dance. Lucian still can't shake his doubts as he heads straight to his dad. Then Sammy can't make out the magic words at all and even starts to wonder if Lucian really wrote, "I love you, Dad," in the sky. Frustration spikes. Lucian slams his quill down and stops mid-write, completely baffled that only he can see the magical symbols. After the Deathbore incident the other day, Lucian finally clocked it. This era's magic tech hasn't improved one bit, it's actually gotten worse. That night, Lucian lay awake, grinding through thoughts he couldn't shut off, furious that people like these only believe the wealthy get to wield magic, and no matter how hard he tries to show them his way, they just won't understand. Lucian burns the whole night brainstorming a battle plan, then kicks things off by spilling the basics of magic. So it's crystal clear for everyone, including his parents and Anna, who's totally in the dark, like a beginner-friendly spellbook that shows you the ropes. But this writing hits a new problem. How is Lucian going to get anyone to read his guide when they can't even track the thing down? With zero other choices left. The next day, Lucian steels himself and goes to talk to his dad. Anna steps in beside him, pumping him up with every word. Without a second thought, Lucian shoots a straight-up question to his dad, asking for exactly what he wants. Sammy can't help but get emotional. He's stunned that his son just came out and asked for something, and it's the first time Lucian has ever made a request. Thrilled, Sammy drops to Lucian's level and blurts out what he needs, ready to do anything, even to charge into that fierce boar. But when Lucian demands a pen and paper, Sammy's hype gets snuffed in a single heartbeat. Sammy throws in a quick apology. He can't snag paper for Lucian, and honestly, dealing with a death is way easier than tracking down something as simple as paper. Anna leans in and tells the young sage the shocking truth. Paper isn't just paper, it's pure value. Even Mr. Forsen, the book collector himself, has zero paper. Why is it suddenly so impossible to find paper these days? Like, how do you have books but not a single sheet to read or write on? Sammy folds his arms and fires back at Lucian that paper costs a fortune. He'd seen it for sale in town, but he'd never actually touched the stuff before. If Lucian decides to buy it, he'd drain almost an entire month of their budget, because this stuff is brutally expensive. Even Lucian's starting to sweat when he hears this, because back in the day, paper was cheap thanks to magical tech, but after 500 years, nobody could have guessed how brutally expensive it's become. Sammy gently ruffled Lucian's hair with a tender pat on the head, and asks if he needs anything besides paper. Sami can't help but think about how Lucian always handles everything by himself, and it leaves him feeling weirdly lonely, like he's suddenly not needed the way he used to be. Suddenly, Ron bursts forward, dashing in a flash before launching himself straight into Lucian's arms. Anna then demands to know where the fairy is because she's been tearing through every corner trying to find him. That tiny cutie disappeared the very second the whole Deathbore mess wrapped up. The moment Sammy spots Ron for the first time, he snaps at his son, asking if Ron is a monster, and Lucian blurts out that Ron's a fox, then immediately asks if he can keep him. Sammy doesn't just buy into the plan, he's actually fully on board with it, feeling a huge rush of happiness after agreeing to keep Ron. Sammy declares with a grin that today is absolutely fantastic. Lucian didn't just make his first request, he's also taking a real interest in Sammy's work. Lucian's hunting for the paper he needs to forge a grimoire, and if it costs a whole month's salary, he'll still go for it. He's got to earn that money on his own, so he starts looking, and Lucian spots a few of his dad's old tools. As he sweeps his eyes over them, he spots heavy wear, rust freckles here and there, and the blades are even nicked like they've survived real fights. While his dad's tied up, Lucian casts his magic on the tools, honing them with razor-sharp skill. Then his enchanting work gets ignored. And right after that, Sammy hustles everyone outside to start mowing the lawn, while Lucian whoops and cheers like his dad's on the verge of winning something huge. The young thinker leans in, eyes sharp, plotting a brilliant move to earn money for paper. He could whip up paper with magic, just like last time, but Lucian's got no materials and this would take way too long to make enough. Hunting down a whole pack of monsters through the forest is off the table too, because he has no clue how it might mess with the environment. Sammy grips his freshly fixed tool, ready to slice through a strip of grass. It suddenly cuts straight through the whole patch. Sammy's eyes go wide and he clamps down on his scythe before shouting, "Son." He shoots a quick look at the grass creeping behind him, and he's stunned to realize it's been completely trimmed clean. Lucian's plan was locked in from the very beginning. Because his ideas won't cut it, he pivots to the only move that matters, helping his father, the family's main provider, crank up his work output so their income finally climbs. Sammy can finally breathe easy now that the grass is trimming itself. Lucian grins with pride as he watches. He poured smithing magic into the tool to crank up its power, then slaps on a wind spell to stretch its reach even farther. Looks like Lucian totally lost control and went way too far. During lunch, while they pass sandwiches around, Lucian leans in and tells his dad he's been sneaking magic on the side. It's not only about helping Sammy, there's way more going on here. Now it's way simpler, because mowing the lawn used to take him hours. Sammy can't stop beaming. Having a son like Lucian who's genuinely treasured by magic makes his heart swell with pride. When Lucian hears that, he suddenly gets bashful and tells his dad it's totally no big deal yet. For Sammy, it feels like the universe just granted him a miracle. Then he snaps at Lucian, telling him to stop flaunting his magic. And he swore never to use it for evil. Lucian flashes a grin as he chomps his sandwich, pumping the air like he's saying, "Yeah, totally," to Sammy. Meanwhile, Sammy's completely unfazed. He figures Lucian's a decent kid, and then, boom, Lucian's out there eyeing some old farm tools, planning to cast spells on them and flip them to the villagers for a fat profit, thinking his father won't sniff it out, right? While Lucian chows down his sandwich, he spots a struggling plant nearby, and it looks like it's barely hanging on. Sammy says this place has been wrecked by bugs, and yeah, he's been fighting them, but at the end of the day, there's only so much he can do. Lucian leans in and fires off the question, did he really use pesticides to wipe out those bugs? Sammy snaps back that they're barely useful and cost an arm and a leg. This year, those pests have swept through every field, and with the rain still nowhere to be found, things are only getting worse. And just when things couldn't get worse, a savage wild boar stormed in, smashing and trampling the crops. Now the entire village is freaking out and totally helpless. After he hears it all, Lucian snaps up to his feet in a rush, exactly what he needed to hear. Lucian shoots Sammy a quick bow, then tells his dad he has to split, because something huge just blew up and it can't wait. Anna hangs back while Lucian crouches to inspect the drooping plants, and the whole scene just screams trouble. He channels his magic to read their condition, and even with upgraded farm tools supercharging productivity, the crops can still get crushed by bad weather and the harsh surroundings. With appraisal magic blasting the truth to the surface, Lucian can practically read the field at a glance. He spots the crops thriving and the pests chewing up the leaves, then he instantly knows exactly what should be planted to make them go wild. Meanwhile, Anna and Ron lounge there, grinning hard, while Lucian picks out herbs like it's an adventure just for them. Ron slips away from Anna and sprints toward a stash of herbs. As soon as Ron catches his eye, Lucian flicks his gaze to the herbs Ron just pointed out. This is the healing plant he's been hunting for. Lucian smiles and softly pats Ron on the head, full of warmth. Anna rushes to call Lucian, eager to show him the plant she just uncovered. Lucian used her magic to take a closer look, and boom, she realized it was a super toxic mushroom that could kill anyone who ate it. After he thanks Anna, he pockets the mushroom for himself. He doesn't even need it, but the thought of Anna accidentally munching it feels like a disaster waiting to happen. Later on, Lucian snatches up every herb he needs, and Anna asks what he's planning to do. Lucian grins and confidently tells him he's going to build medicine with his own hands. He doesn't hesitate for a second. He plunges straight into his work using alchemy, then starts mixing the medicine by crushing the Fudokoro grass. This enchantment isn't just magic, it's a divine blessing, and boy does it come in clutch. He crushed it to dust and blended it with water. Lucian keeps stirring, exactly the way the instructions demanded. He always figured making medicine would feel way harder than this. Out of nowhere, the mixture exploded in a blinding burst, then the potion was ready. It makes plants grow like crazy and keeps bugs far, far away. A week later, Sammy practically bursts with excitement and grabs Lucian's attention, telling him that the medicine he brewed was absolutely mind-blowing. Sammy only tried it on a tiny patch of the field, and already those plants are exploding, growing faster and looking healthier than ever. It's like they never even had the chance to droop. Lucian can't stop smiling. He's relieved everything's going strong, and he's practically on the edge of his seat waiting for the results to finally land. Out of nowhere, a bunch of farmers barged in and demanded Lucian share A's medicine with them. Everyone spots Sam's field and immediately panics, so they rush to protect their own crops from the pests before it's too late. Staring at them, Lucian realizes just how drastically his life has been flipped upside down. Back then, he was laser-focused on mastering magic and never once bothered to make anything for anyone else. Seeing every smiling face light up because of what he made feels absolutely unreal. Naturally, the young sage told everyone his remedy, without holding anything back. Then later, Lucian straps on the sling bag his dad gave him. It's an old bag, but it fits him perfectly, and Sophia's stomach churns as she realizes she has to let Lucian go to town alone. His parents react to the whole mess in totally different ways, while Sammy is totally chill about Lucian heading into town. But Sophia couldn't shake the anxiety, even with Sammy swearing their son was safe, because with Lucian's magic, sure, trouble might not be a problem, yet her nerves still kept spiraling. Right before Lucian finally steps out, Sammy shoves a bag stuffed with cold cash into his hands. The whole village rallied around Lucian, digging together to buy the paper he needed, because everyone insisted it was the perfect thank you for the miracle work his medicine does. That cash is meant to pay for a notebook and a pen. Then Sammy turns to his son and orders him to guard the money like a treasure so it never gets lost. The villagers don't have money to throw away, yet they still pass this amount to Lucian, and when it's done, Lucian beams, thanking his parents like it's everything. Sophia snaps in, "Don't trust strangers, finish up, then head straight home." Sophia pulls Lucian into a warm hug and tells him, "No matter how wild your magic gets, you'll always be our beloved child." After he tore himself away and said goodbye to his parents, Lucian rockets toward the town. For someone like him, that trip to town is a brutal 2-hour trek. Luckily, Lucian is anything but ordinary. He and Ron launch into the air, twisting gravity and wind magic to keep themselves floating. Controlling his position with wind magic is tough, but with enough practice, he'll crack it wide open. At this speed, Lucian's going to burst into town any moment now. Meanwhile, the butler leans in and asks the nobleman if Milan is dealing with any trouble. He leans in and swears he can feel some weird energy hanging in the air. Milan shoves that feeling aside and tells his butler, "All right, let's hit the road to town now." Right after that, Lucian lands and grins. He's actually made it sooner than he expected. He and Ron finally burst into the loud, bustling town of Dark. Lucian throws himself into the chores, first rushing to pick up the flowers Anna asked for, then his dad barks that he needs one more thing, so Lucian sprints off to find Mr. and snatches up some kelp. Once Lucian finished shopping, he only had one last mission: paper, a pen, and ink. Even though Lucian knows the general store has everything he needs, spotting him in that huge crowd is a nightmare, so he grabs someone and begs for help. Out of nowhere, Ron spots it, locks on and rockets over at full speed. Lucien sprints in his wake, hanging on his tail. Ron slams to a stop right in front of an elderly man with a long, scruffy beard, who immediately assumes Ron's on the hunt for something to eat. Lucien shoots out a quick sorry, because Ron's actions lit the match. But the old man showers Ron with affection, and he swears that the fairy is nothing more than a happy little dog. As Lucien locks eyes with the old man, a warm feeling surges through him, and he starts gearing up to ask for his help. He blurts out that it's his first time in this town, then asks the guy straight up where he can grab some paper, a pen, and ink. The old man flashes a grin at the young wise one, calling it pure luck, because he just happens to own the only paper shop lurking in the dark. He drags Lucien into his shop, then tears through the shelves, hunting down every last supply the young scholar needs. Then the old man thrusts a pen and ink from his stash straight into Lucien's hands. Arms crossed, the shopkeeper grills Lucien, asking if he's got the cash for the paper he wants, and it'll cost him a whopping 120,000 ren. Lucien slams a bag of cash onto the table, then tells the elderly man that it should pay for the paper. After counting up the bills, the old man double-checks the total. Yep, it adds up to a whopping 120,000 ren. The old man leans in and spills his regret to Lucien for real. After questioning him, he can't take it back. It's not like he sees Lucien as some helpless kid. People have tried to haggle prices or keep him waiting on payment, and with paper prices so brutal lately, you can't blame the shopkeeper for staying on guard. The shopkeeper slams 30 sheets of paper into Lucien's hands. Every last thing in his supply, because the store keeps barely any in stock, all to stop thieves. The moment Lucien snatches the paper, the young sage's face lights up like he just hit the jackpot. Ron is buzzing with excitement too, while Lucien just can't wrap his head around why everyone treats paper like it's priceless gold. This young sage still hasn't figured out why paper matters so much in this world. What really happened in those centuries? He was gone. Either way, Lucien's buzzing over the paper, but he knows it still won't be enough to forge a real grimoire. Suddenly, his thoughts get smashed to pieces by the shop door swinging open. Then the butler from before steps in, and right after him, Lord Mullen storms in too. An old man's warm grin welcomes him into his tiny shop, and there stands Lord Milan, here for the very same reason as Lucien, to buy up every last sheet of paper in the place. The shop owner drops down in a hurry, hissing in his ear to get out fast, before anyone spots him. Then the shopkeeper strides right back to charming Lord Milan, grinning as he blurts that he's over the moon, because the Lord came all the way to town just to buy his paper, and now the shelves are bone dry. Lucien cuts out before the whole mess gets even more complicated. He strides up to Ron and tells the fairy crew, "All right, depart now." Right when they're on the edge of walking out the door, Lucien bursts in and catches the shop owner spilling secrets about Lord Emlon's magic research. Lucien freezes dead in his tracks the moment he hears Lord Mullen claim that paper is the easiest and the most flexible choice for writing. Lord Mullen says straight up that magic is basically a rich noble's pastime, so he commits doubling down on his studies, then even hires a retired court mage to tutor him in private at the Delroa estate. The moment Lucien hears about the legendary old court magician, his ears snap upright and curiosity hits like a spark. After being reborn, he hasn't run into a single soul who can even touch magic. He's dying to see with his own eyes how far magic has come, especially after hearing that only nobles can wield it. Lucien can't stop staring at magic, so when Lord Mullen finds out every scrap of paper is wiped clean, sold out, Lucien steps up and straight up admits he's the one who bought it. The shop owner was completely stunned. Like realizing Lucien was already gone, the young sage hurried to apologize, then admitted something had grabbed his attention. Lord Milan barrels up to Lucien and tells him he'll pay double for the paper, straight up. Of course, the Lord won't put Lucien on the spot like that. Doing so would stain the Diladroa family's name. Lucien shuts down the Lord's offer, demanding the document too, and makes it crystal clear, no matter how much the Lord waves in front of him, he's not letting it go. The shopkeeper steps in because this is the right move. Then Lucien drops the truth, his real craving isn't money. See Lord Emlon's magic tear the air open right in front of them. The shopkeeper freezes, staring in shock as Lucien looks even more excited than he did earlier, clutching that paper like it's pure magic. Chuckling, Lord Emlon gives Lucien's request a nod. He steps outside and there it is, A whole crowd packed together, itching to watch his magical show because for some of them this is the very first time magic has ever hit their eyes. The butler marches up to Lord Mulan and tells him to chill, his rival is just a kid, but Mulan fires back, grinning like he's here to catch Lucien off guard. Yeah, good luck with that. Lucien's mind sparks with pure excitement. He's right on the edge of seeing someone else's magic for the very first time. With his head bowed low, Lucien shows Lord Mulan the kind of respect that hits like thunder. Lost in awe of the young sage's razor focus, Lord Enlon drinks in every moment and snaps his magic powers to life. A blinding glow erupts under Lord Enlon as he calls forth the wind spirit. That sight makes Ron hiss, rage floods his eyes, as Lord Enlon finally unleashes the wind. And with a snap of magic, a gentle breeze sweeps over Lucien. While the crowd erupts for the Lord's flawless spell, Lucien's once bright expression goes completely blank. Milan bursts into a chuckle when he sees Lucien's face, wide-eyed, frozen in pure shock like words won't come, then he leans in. An arm draped over Ron as he sits perched on Lucien's head, and the Lord's convinced Lucien just got a front-row seat to Imlan's mind-blowing magic. And this moment will burn into the young sage's memory forever. But here's what Lord Mulan misses. Lucien is stuck in a furious mental debate with himself, replaying what he just saw and feeling completely crushed. What was that supposed to mean? Lord Mulan calls it wind, but all it was a weak little breeze. Lucina couldn't wait to see just how much Noble's magic had leveled up. But the chant and the magic told a totally different story as his arms stayed crossed. Lucien III goes wide-eyed when he sees Lord Mulan unleash spirit magic, and the disappointment hits him like a punch to the chest. Spirit magic is all about riding your luck while drawing magical circles, summoning spirits, and borrowing their power. Because that strength doesn't come free, you pay the price for every use. Back in Lucien's past life, he didn't buy this spirit magic stuff. Like, seriously, did people really need spirits just to cast spells? Everyone acts like it's no big deal, but are we really sure that's the truth? As Lucien stared at his own hands, he realized people didn't need spirits at all. They could tap into magic on their own. He knew it like the back of his hand, because he'd lived that exact same nightmare himself. Lucien stared at his own hands and forged fire out of thin air. No spirits, no summoning, just pure proof that his theory was real. People can actually cast real magic on their own, no spirits needed. Lucien proved you don't need a spirit to make things work, and when his discovery hit the public, critics scoffed and skeptics doubted, but a few curious minds couldn't stop leaning in. Right before Lucien could spill his mind-blowing new magical discovery, a terminal illness ripped him away, leaving his incredible secret unsaid. He honestly thought someone else would pick up the job and carry on, so spirit magic would never be needed. Can you believe it's already been 500 years? The young sage is totally baffled by how badly the magic has fallen, and everyone else is still staring in awe, hooked on spirits and chasing luck. Did everyone just shrug it off as the ramblings of some odd recluse? Lucien jerks back as Lord Emlon's chuckling turns into a jab, asking if the Lord's magic made him lose control. Then the Lord turns to the crowd and even jokes about getting Lucien a fresh pair of underwear. Lucien seethes at the mockery and steels himself to show Lord Emlon a magic technique that depends on pure skill, no spirits, no luck. He lifts his hand and summons a surge of wind magic, no words, just pure power exploding in the air. Behind Lord Enlon, wooden crates started to rattle as Lucien's magic surged harder and hotter. Then the wind snapped to life, blasting in louder and wilder. Lord Mulan and his butler got caught flat-footed, and the wind didn't let up, until it hit them so hard that Lord Mulan stumbled. Lucien slowly tightens his hand into a fist, and the raging wind finally eases as if it's obeying him. This was the first spark of his wind pressure magic. Breeze, Lord Milan can't even process what he just saw and heard, because the wind magic was way too brutal, like it had to summon spirits. The wind Lucien whipped up blasted his view, so he couldn't see Ron getting swept away by the force, while that terrified fairy is downright panicking at the thought of being yanked into the sky. Thank goodness, Lucien lunges and snatches him at the last second. Still, Lord Mulan can't shake the shock from everything that just went down. When he spots Lucien squeezing Ron in a tight hug, his mind instantly spirals. Who is that kid, really? While they're rattling through the ride, the Lord decides to drag Lucien back to his estate in the carriage. Lucian and Lord Mulan trade secrets about magic, and with his arms crossed, Mulan admits the only spell he truly understands is summoning spirits, paid for with magical energy. For a magic scholar like him, this is straight-up common knowledge. When Lord Mulan tells the young sage his magic isn't anything like what he's been taught, Lucian doesn't hesitate, he immediately agrees. He can't stop feeling bad for his mom, knowing she's getting home late, so he vows, right after he finishes his errands, he'll sprint straight home without a detour. It looks like that plan got tossed aside when Lord Mulan hauled him earlier, all of them staring, because that magic Lucian showed earlier was messing with everyone's heads. Lucian knows Lord Mulan wasn't just playing it cool, he dabbled in magic like it was a noble pastime. Only now does the young sage finally realize it. Lord Mulan has ditched everything and thrown himself back into his studies, starting from scratch and learning magic all over again. Lucian can't bring himself to criticize the Lord's drive and determination, and he definitely can't ignore the effort he pours into mastering magic with that relentless hunger to learn. Right then, the butler locks eyes with Lucian and admits his regret over Lord Mulan's earlier behavior. With a sharp note of worry, the butler leans in and admits that Lord Mulan truly is an incredible. He gets way too hyped, like a kid in a candy store, every time magic hangs in the air. Lord Mulan's cheeks burn with embarrassment and he snaps at his butler to shut down the nonsense, right now. But what can he do about it? He's obsessed, watching magic, using magic, living for it. That's why Lucian's insane abilities blindsided him. His heart pounded with pure joy. The thought that you could wield magic without summoning spirits or chanting spells had me buzzing, and Lord Mulan's face lit up as he revealed he wants to use that same kind of magic too. As Lucian watches, it becomes crystal clear, this guy's love for magic burns so hot it's basically unstoppable. Lucian corners Lord Mulan and demands answers about why can only nobles wield magic, so when he pushes for the real reason, he's not just asking a question anymore. Lord Mulan shoots back one word, bloodline. Lord Mulan learned this hard truth: a person's magic power is tied straight to their bloodline. If you want to wield magic, you'd better be born into the right lineage, and Lucian can't shake that gut punch sadness. The whole idea feels totally random. Are they really trying to lock magic away from everyone but the rich and powerful? But magic doesn't care about bloodline at all, and Lucian proves it beyond a doubt. The only explanation Lord Mulan can't stop thinking about is that Lucian could be some hidden heir from a noble bloodline. Until you remember Lucian knows the truth, he's the only son of an ordinary farmer. The butlers convinced Lucian is the rebirth of some terrifying, powerful spirit, but Lucian fires back that he's just a normal kid with normal parents. Why should magic be locked behind wealthy pockets when it could belong to everyone? Hell, everyone around me could use it if they'd just actually put in the time to learn. At that point, Lucian threw himself into relentless magic study, cooking up fresh ideas and brand new ways of seeing the world. He even tried a bunch of different ways to crack it and finally get a real grip on what it meant. Right as his education was about to finally take off, everything screeched to an unexpected halt. He got bombarded with all kinds of ideas from everyone, yes, even the kids. Technology rockets forward when a whole mix of people, everyone with their ideas and opinions, steps in to share their thoughts, instead of letting just a tiny few call the shots. After 500 years, it's wild how the world turned out nothing like what Lucian first dreamed, yet his wisdom and support are still sparking the rise of magical tech today. He's got to shatter this narrow-minded take on magic and prove one thing to everyone: with real effort, anyone can learn how to use it. They've finally arrived at Lord Mulan's estate, and the butler darts off in a flash to fetch the Lord's tutor. As Lord Mulan urges Lucian to tell the very same tale again, the truth hits. Since Mulan barely knows a thing about magic, he can't really call the young sage out or judge him. Lucian nods with a sharp little memory. Lord Mulan's teacher used to be a court mage. Mulan then smiled and asked what kind of person the teacher was, and she lit up. Her teacher was a pure prodigy who became a court mage at an insane young age. At the same time, the butler burst into the teacher's room and shot off Lord Mulan's call right then and there. Everyone expected some mysterious old master, but then boom, our esteemed teacher turns out to be a young girl named Sorrel Melislan. Can she hook Lucian's tail, or is this girl about to plot something nasty against our hero? While Mulan and Lucian wait for Sorrel, the Lord has his staff poised and ready, serving tea and snacks. While they're stuck waiting for his teacher, Milan hypes Lucien and Ron up and tells them to chill, kick back, and treat the place like home. Lucien and Ron stare at those treats with stars in their eyes because tell me, what else could a noble bring besides pure luxury? And for Lucien, this is wild. After 6 years of being reborn, he's never seen anything this exquisite. Spying Lucien's shock, Milan grins and admits the truth. He's got a massive sweet tooth, so tea time is basically packed with pastries every single day. The moment Lon flashes that thumbs up, Lucien and Ron snatch some food, and the first bite hits them like an explosion of pure, mind-blowing flavor. Next, Ron, practically buzzing with joy over those pastries, tears into them like a hungry tornado, while Lucien just stares at him with worry, because can a fairy really sink his teeth into something this heavy? Sudden knock on the door snaps Lucien's attention instantly. The butler barrels back in, hauling Sorrel right with him. Then Lucien steps into the room and immediately spots her. Known as the youngest court mage ever, she's got a bright, sweet, unmistakably feminine charm that grabs your attention instantly. She catches Milan's attention and fires off a quick question: what does he really think about magic? Mulan gently asks Sorrel to tell her what he thinks about Lucien's situation, because Lucien feels stuck, like he can't choose on his own. Sorrel's been grinding magic for ages, and she used to be a court mage, so yeah, she's exactly the right person to tackle these two. Lucien clocks the girl and guesses she's only around 14 or 15, and that's way younger than he expected. What really hooks him is that she used to be a court mage, so yeah, she clearly knows magic way better than you'd expect. Right? Lucien's got a million questions storming around his head, especially about the magic that's happening today. He's scrambling to keep up with what Mulan and Sorrel are saying, while Mulan leans in, trying to make it crystal clear why Lucien is even there. Sorrel fires off a sharp, disapproving look at Lucien, then whips her attention straight to Mulan. Ramming the point home to the Lord, don't fall for this nonsense. With her arms crossed, Sorrel declares that magic can't move a finger without spirits fueling it, so what Mulan probably saw was just an illusion, or a slick little trick. Lucien's eyebrows snapped together in pure confusion. Wait, what did she just say? Lon was left scratching his head. Would a kid really go out of their way to pull something like that just for him? Sorrel still swears this is just a magic prank, something cooked up to win Milan's heart because he's obsessed with magic, and pairing Milan with a kid like Lucien is exactly the kind of smooth move con artists use to make their target drop their guard. Milan is so lost in thought that it looks like the world just vanished. Meanwhile, Sorrel storms over to Lucien and rips into him for that prank. Because she's done with games and she insists everyone knows magic needs spirits, she's not clueless at all and she straight up calls Lucien a spoiled kid. Lucien watches it all in silence, eyes locked on the witty Sorrel across from him, and when she praises the young sage for having the guts to pull that trick on Mulan, Lucien can practically feel the message land. She totally gets why a kid like him would be drawn to magic. Snatching the cookie mid-bite, Sorrel orders Lucien to apologize the right way, then promises she'll maybe spill some real magic to him. Lucien watches, stunned, as Sorrel takes one massive bite out of the cookie. He thought he was getting something good, but fate punched him in the face. It's tough, painfully tough, not just a little dry or overcooked, it's stone stiff, like he's chewing straight through gravel. Now Lucien leans in and starts talking up a storm, telling Sorrel that someone like a past court mage, just like her, isn't anything special at all. Lucien snatches a cookie, flashes a grin, and needles Sorrel for being so gullible. She bites it without even clocking the spell hiding in it. Sorrel leans in and studies the cookie so closely it might as well be evidence, totally baffled by what Lucien just said. This is Lucien's golden chance to roast Sorrel for not knowing a basic earth-hardening spell. Like, seriously, it's the simplest thing. Honestly, it still bothered Sorrel a little because she does know the basics, so when a spell turned a simple cookie this tough, she never saw that coming. But the moment Lucien showed off his magic, the girl snapped it off like it was just another joke. Then she cut right into him and accused him of swapping her cookie with a stone one. Sorrel swoops in with tea and snaps at Lucien to stop his silly stunts, then right as she raises the teacup to her lips, it suddenly explodes into the air when Lucien's fire spell kicks in. She freezes, staring at her cup in disbelief, because the tea is gone completely, like it vanished into thin air. Right as she's about to say another word, Sorrel suddenly rockets up into the sky. She wrestles to keep her skirt in place, yells at Lucien to finally explain what's happening. The young sage shrugs it off, saying it's nothing but gravity magic. Sorrel scoffs and waves his spells away like they're just cheap tricks. When Sorrel realizes proving his magic might actually be real, his confidence flips to panic. Because making someone float can't be a joke, and Tatty starts trusting Lucian, so she blurts that she needs him to let her down. Now he sank into the chair and settled in. Right there, Sorrel admits she was so stunned she never even noticed the cookie and tea. But she could definitely feel the magical energy steering the gravy. Sorrel still can't wrap her head around it. Lucian summons spirits without spells or circles, and it feels way too impossible, like he should have just called it a neat trick instead. Lucian flings the gravity spell again, and suddenly Ron plus a few cookies float in midair. Right as Sorrel's doubt still clings to her, Lucian's already poised to yank her off the ground too. Maybe this time he could coax her into a twirl, then Sorrow snaps the hope in half. What happened was proof enough for her. She knew it wasn't some cheap trick or a scam. When Lucian asks for her apology, Sorrel shoots back, "I'm sorry," without wasting a second. Then she stares at the chaos and realizes how deadly this really is. There's magic out there that doesn't need spirits at all, and Sorrel has never seen a thing like it, not even back at the magic school. The Magic Academy is where the Gastiana Kingdom trains its mages. There's one campus in almost every corner, and rumors say everyone ends up at one because there are 5 total. Mulan will swing by there someday too, but right now Lucian finally gets it. The real trouble is rooted in those places where false stories about spirit magic get passed around. Lucian then blurts out, "I want to join the academy too." Mulan and Sorrel locked eyes, and the whole moment suddenly snapped with meaning. Then one of them leans in and demands to know if Lucian really grew up in a normal village. Right as Lucian hears the question, everything changes. Sorrow pulls him aside and warns him, "Getting in won't be easy, only people with noble connections are allowed into the academy." She's watched this cruel scene play out again and again. People with no noble blood are judged as magically useless and shoved away at the very entrance. Still, Milan can't shake it. This rumor he once heard keeps replaying in his mind. Once upon a time, a girl with a freakish gift for magic stood on her own 2 feet, only she wasn't royalty, she was the merchant's daughter. Normally, she never would have been allowed anywhere near that academy. But they made a special exception for her, because rejecting her would have been a crime, losing that unbelievable gift. After digging around, they finally uncovered the shocking truth: she was a long-lost relative from a noble family. Still, the merchant's daughter got the green light and was allowed into the academy. Milan snaps back that it's all hearsay, so he can't vouch for it, yet after that, Lucian still won't quit, convinced he can make it into the academy even if he's just from a small village. Sorrel beams and writes him a recommendation letter to back him up. So if he finally goes, sorry for all those earlier tricks. Turns out this escort magician doesn't just remember, he's still burning with a grudge. Lucian bows low and blurts out a real apology for tricking Sorrel, who's soaking up the spotlight like it's her birthday. Then, of course, she forgives him on the spot. Lucian grins and thanks Sorrel, teasing her by calling her Winiak Chen, and you can practically see her beam from ear to ear. She knows her shyness won't win over Sorrel, but she still nudges Lucian to cast that spell again, and he agrees with a grin. As Milan sips his tea, a warm grin spreads across his face, seeing those two finally vibe and get along. Soon after, his face hardens into something grim, like he's remembering a question he swore he'd ask Lucian. When Milan pushes the idea of joining the academy, he also whispers to the young sage, "Start aiming to become the one mage for House Dea." Lucian can't make sense of it, his brain just won't stop spinning. Sorrel practically bubbles with excitement for him, but Emlan leans in and tells Lucian that being a special mage means he'll serve as his advisor. Then the Lord presses Lucian for his thoughts on magic. Just like how a court mage would lay out advice for a noble family. Sorrel says landing as a full-fledged mage is a massive honor, nothing like her day-to-day life as a private tutor, where it's totally different from the moment you step into real magic. It's sitting proudly at number 1 for dream jobs in the academy. Milan lights up with a warm grin, his eyes blazing as he spills his heart for magic. He soaks up every bit of it, watching, experimenting, and learning like it's his lifeline, because magic isn't just a hobby for him, it's what drives his whole life. He can't stop remembering the academy days when everything felt bright and alive. Every lesson Mulan picked up, he couldn't wait to pass on, because his heart still belonged to his late mother. Mulan's mom didn't come from royalty, she rose from a humble life, and that grit shaped everything. And the moment Milan's dad saw her, he fell headfirst in love, bulldozed every objection and pushed to make her his wife. When Milan was still a kid, he bolted out of school and raced home, practically bursting to tell his mom everything he just learned about probability. Mulan's mother was flooded with pride when he passed her his simple magic chant. Milan could barely contain himself. He was counting down to the moment his mom tried it too. Milan's mom lets the hope drop with a gentle, heartbreaking shake of her head. She tells him she just can't. Milan still remembers every word she said that day. She told him she had 0 noble blood in her veins, which meant she couldn't use magica or even learn it. With a heavy heart, Milan stares into the past, clinging to her every word and the heartbreaking look on her face when she said them. A few years later, Mulan's mother was gone for good, and Mulan couldn't bring back the smile he'd vowed to restore. Milan can't shake it. He's begging that Lucian is right. That you can wield magic on your own, no family legacy, no spells required. Lucian's dead certain of it. He's a farm kid, not some noble bloodline, and he doesn't even need spells to pull off real magic. Once everyone has the right knowledge, magic stops being a myth, anyone can tap into it, and wild ideas start exploding into reality. The magic we've always known is about to vanish, and something totally new is going to rise in its place. This brand new magic is ready to light up our world and make it feel alive again. This is the exact world Lucian used to dream up in his wildest imagination. And now, it's the world Lucian is fighting for, his real goal, his dream. He tells everyone exactly what he wants to build, then wastes no time. First, he has to get into the academy and cram every last bit of knowledge he can about spirit magic. Malon beams with big brother pride, even as Sorrel's eyes burn and tears try to break free. Moved by Lucian's grit, the young sage can't help but feel his stomach drop. He's scared Sorrel might snap back, or worse, that the tough girl from before really did mess up her tooth. With tears still on her cheeks, Sorrel wipes them away and tells Lucian that what he said to Mulan left her completely shaken, in the best way. Then she lifts herself up and plants both hands on his shoulders. She tells the young sage, "Don't worry, I'll write you a recommendation for the academy." Sorrel isn't sure it'll actually work, but she's ready to gamble anyway. Milan is convinced this is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. She used to be a court mage, so that recommendation letter is going to skyrocket Lucian's chances, especially with everything that's been said so far. Lucian needs to rush home and tell his parents everything. It's getting late, and you know they're probably freaking out. Butler corners Lucian and demands his address so he can set up a carriage ride straight home. The moment he brings up Neelmi village, everything changes. Everyone's stunned. Lucian's house is a trek, even if they travel by horse and cart, but they're going to get him there no matter what. Milan is going to step in with a real, heartfelt apology for Lucian, straight to his parents. Sorrel unleashes wind magic to blast the carriage ahead, and right then, Lucian steps in and cuts him off, telling him not to stress because he'd get home on his own. Now everyone went silent. They haul Lucian outside and tearfully bid him farewell, and the whole crowd stares as he rockets up into the sky like a miracle taking flight. The moment Lucian slipped out of the estate, he snapped his floating magic on and vanished in a blur of rushing air. Pretty awesome compared to a carriage, right? But get this, our grasp of magic is about to be totally flipped upside down. But Milan can't stop grinning. Watching it come to life feels unreal. He also has to gear up for Lucian's move to the academy, so before anything else, the butler lays out every duty he's got to handle. Sorrel tips her face to the sky, smiling like she knows a secret, then shuts her eyes and claps her hands together, summoning the wind in the blink of an eye. While she's locked in and focused, Lon probes her, watching what she does, listening to every word, yet she just blushes, shies away, and brushes him off. As they rip down the road heading back home, Ron finally nods off, and the moment he drops into dreamland, he starts blurting words in his sleep. As Ron snuggles into Lucian's chest, the young sage stares off into the distance and lets his mind drift over the Magic Academy. An academy built to sharpen minds and turn students into legends. It's probably the spark behind every act of wrongdoing, pushing cursed, outdated spirit magic like it's the truth. Lucian sees their whole crew as pure wickedness, so if he can claw his way into the academy, he's immediately going to scout every class they offer. He's absolutely itching to see what the academy is like, because 5 whole centuries have already passed. At the academy, a short-haired girl plops onto a bench and scribbles furiously in her notebook, capturing every detail as it hits. Without warning, a boy rushed up to her and snapped that it was time to head home. Will these people form a bond with Lucian anytime soon? Just a few days after he hauled himself back from Imlan's place, Lucian clocks it right away. Ron looks totally different now, and the fairy beside him seems to have grown and shifted into something new. At first, Lucian swore Ron's fur was just getting thicker, but lately it's felt like something far worse, like Ron's weight has started pressing down on his shoulder. When he unleashed his magic to peer into the truth, like Lucian realized Ron's weight had ballooned way past what's healthy and Ron needed to hit the move, now, if he wanted to shed those pounds. Lucian whips his finger and targets every single treat Ron stuffed himself on at Emlan's place. Thanks to Lucian's pure determination, Ron grinds through a brutal routine of exercises, including sit-ups. When they wrap up, Lucian lights up, proud of every ounce of effort they poured in and every drop of sweat they earned. Now Ron looks way bigger and far more heavy than he did before that workout. When Lucian fires off appraisal magic again, he's stunned to see Ron's fat has vanished, replaced by hard, blazing muscle. So yeah, he's basically all muscle now and Lucian can't stop praising it, saying muscle beats being weighed down by extra fat. Once he cut his workout routine, Ron slowly slid back into the exact shape he used to have. We've already been swept up in the wildest journey, so yeah, we're craving the next one, but now the day to head to the academy is here, and things are definitely not going the way we hoped. Right now, Lucian finds himself boxed in by 3 teenage girls and their eyes won't stop sparkling. Every single one is totally taken with him. And it's never happened to him until now. The girls, thinking he could be a missing kid, corner him and demand to know where he's from and who his parents are. Lucian strides up and flat out declares he's not some lost kid, then he throws his name out there, Lucian Gildalba. And he drops the real reason he's here, to enroll at the Ajal Royal Magic Academy. Alright, let's rewind a few days. When Lucian finally stumbled back from Mulan's mansion, he spilled every last detail to his parents. He told them he'd beg, bargain, and do whatever it took to get into the academy and study magic. And if the acceptance letter didn't come, Milan was ready to hire him as the Lord's personal mage. Then he handed his parents a handwritten letter. Milan had sent it to prove everything was real. They froze in shock because the sight and feel of that paper letter hit them way harder, nothing like the wooden boards they'd always depended on. Lucian sits down with his parents and spills every detail from the letter. Milan will foot the bill for his tuition and fees, and the moment he hears that, his excitement goes through the roof as he can't wait to start at the academy. Sammy beams with pride in his son's gifts and throws his full support behind him. But Sophia can't shake her worries. She hates the idea of her 6-year-old heading into a giant school, and she's terrified Lucian will get bullied by the other kids. This place is reserved for the elite, and Lucian has no business being there. He dials his mom again, desperate to clear everything up. But Sophia beats everyone to it, and even with her doubts, she can't stop it now. Her son already made up his mind, and Sophia knows him better than anyone. Once Lucian sets his mind on something, he commits, no backing out. After all, he's still their child. Sammy strides over to his wife, flashes Sophia a warm smile, and promises her they're going to help Lucian chase his dream. A few days later, the whole family is hit with an invitation to Milan's mansion. There, they finally get the full rundown on how to join the academy. Sammy and Sophia are crammed into a carriage for the very first time, and the ride has them swaying, dizzy, and wide-eyed. As they're busy talking, Milan leans in and spills the jaw-dropping truth about Lucian's insane magical powers. Lucian's arrival could flip the future of magic on its head. Right here, right now, his impact is absolutely enormous. Milan slams the news on them. This magic academy only takes kids from noble families, and the fees are insanely high. The House of Delore steps up and covers the costs. Sammy leans in and tells Milan, "Give me a little time, I need to think through the financial help the Lord just handed me." Lucian can't shake it. Why would his own dad suggest something like that? Realizing they could never scrape together the tuition on a farmer's salary, Sammy and Sophia drop to their knees in front of Milan, begging the Lord to protect their one and only son. Milan was supposed to help Lucian with the transfer, but then a surprise problem blew everything up. Milan kept blurting, "I'm sorry," and shoved Lucian toward the academy alone, and that's why he's stuck with these 3 teens now. Standing there, Lucian's mind races through his family, each goodbye wrapped in warmth as they sent him off. He's carrying their dreams on his shoulders, and no one's just going to toss him aside as some lost kid. Just as the girls nearly saw the guard, Lucian shot his hand up and summoned water with his magic. The girls stared up at the sky, completely awestruck by the mesmerizing view. Lucian's praying this finally makes it click. He's not some lost kid roaming around, he's here to learn magic same as everyone else. Girls are totally blown away by Lucian's skills. He pulled out water like a miracle, even though there wasn't a drop in sight. He didn't even need ingredients, he just said the spell's name and the magic appeared and the girls were blown away. But there was no hiding it, they'd been completely soaked. That thought lit a fire under Lucian, because he never once meant to leave these girls soaked to the bone. He lifts his hand again and whips the wind into motion. Just like that, the girls are all completely dry. Lucian can unleash both of his powers at once. The girls are convinced this young boy is a genius in the making, but Lucian shuts it down like it's way too much, because they might not just be special, they're dead wrong. Because he just fused magic from two totally different elements, huge deal since most people can't pull off something like that. Most people can only master one element. The moment Lucian hears it, fury spikes in his ears. Who dared poison people's minds with lies? Sure, there are connections and cracks, but the amount of power someone can tap into is basically limitless. Lucian can't stop dissecting everything like it's a puzzle. He refuses to let this magic school run on autopilot, and he swears he's signing up soon just to see what else they've got. The short-haired girl snaps a warning at Lucian, don't go blasting magic at other people out of the blue. She knows he's only here to learn, but soaking someone with water like that, that's just not okay. Lucian drops into a bow to say he's sorry and the girls erupt in praise, because he just proved he's the ultimate good sport. Right after that, the short-haired girl steps in and offers to personally walk Lucian straight to the teacher's office. And that's how she finally shared her name, Irina. The other two girls had missions to handle, so they split off and all that was left was Irina standing there with Lucian. The walk to the teacher's office drags on a little too long. Irina hands Lucian a cool cup of apple juice. She even packs orange juice, just so he won't get thirsty out there on the road. The young wise man stalls at first, but then right at the end, he finally takes the apple juice. Lucian leans in and flat out tells him he has no choice. Because his taste buds act like a kid's, and after just a couple sips, Lucian realizes he's actually loving the apple juice, mildly sweet, with a tiny tang that keeps his mouth interested. The two of them sprinted straight into Teacher Gertz's office in no time. Irina can't wait and blurts out everything about that amazing boy who's begging to join. Clocking Irina's wild excitement and feeding off it. Teacher Gertz suspects the boy is the exact one the Della Delore family recommended, and the kid instantly throws her for a loop. Lucian strides up, flashes his name, and shoves the money over, right on the spot for his school fees. When Teacher Gertz presses Lucian about Sam's noble roots, Lucian doesn't flinch, he tells the truth. Sam's father isn't noble at all. Teacher Gertz isn't even shocked anymore, this has gotten so common lately that it barely registers. Turns out that one distant noble relative is all the academy needs, so Lucian's father doesn't have to be noble at all. Lucian's first answer totally missed the mark, but maybe fortune's got his back. Teacher Gertz clearly took it the wrong way. Then Teacher Gertz leans in and tells Lucian to fill out a form that demands his name, his age, where he was born, who he calls family, and every scrap of magic training he's ever had. But Lucian can't shake the feeling that his family's past is hiding something, and he doesn't know what it is. In that village, it's basically the norm. Most folks have been lifelong friends for forever. Teacher Gertz clocks that Lucian has stopped writing dead in his tracks, staring off like his mind's somewhere else. When he asks, Lucian shrugs and admits he has no clue where his family even came from. Teacher Gertz shot Lucian a sharp eyebrow raise and demanded to know, if he was really a noble, does he even know where he truly came from? Just as the teacher was seconds away from reprimanding Lucian, everything finally clicked in his head. Irina stepped in like a shield to protect the young sage, then told the teacher exactly how Lucian could master two different kinds of elemental magic. Yapping Teacher Gertz wide-eyed as he walked away. Irina swore she saw Lucian pull off both water and wind magic, right in front of everyone. Now, Teacher Gertz seems speechless, like she has nothing left to say, yet the Irina's claim sounds way too far-fetched, so why would she ever spin lies about some ordinary person? Lucian steps in and shoots his hand up like he's ready to jump into the discussion, and then hands over the recommendation letter Sorrel wrote for him. Teacher Gertz's eyes widen. Wait, is Lucian really talking about Sorrel, the youngest mage ever to rise at court? From Gertz's reply, Lucian could tell Sorrel's recommendation letter was absolutely top-notch. Sorrel's already ditched her court mage job, and Gertz still has no clue that she's been recruited as a private tutor from Lon. After Gertz reads the letter, he confirms, without a doubt, that Sorrel's message is the real deal. Gertz, the man in charge of transfers and knee admissions, leans in and tells Lucien he's got one tiny test to run at the training grounds. As soon as they arrive, Geert snaps his will and summons spirits to forge a magical barrier around the field. He praises Lucien for spotting that barrier just by watching it. Then he leans in and drops the bomb. The academy is wrapped in the same kind of magic, too, and it's so top tier you need a special keycard just to get in and out. So wait, Gertz is scratching his head like, how in the world did Lucien slip into the academy without a pass? Did Arena somehow open the door for him? Lucien shrugs to the teacher, acting totally calm, and says he already managed to wipe it out. Gertz can't believe he actually let Lucien's money bag slip, and then it all spills out. He shoots down fast, snatching up every last coin and item before it's too late, muttering an apology like it might stop the whole world from falling apart. Gertz's smile evaporates the second he spots the grimy coins littering the ground, and he snatches one up, stunned by how filthy it is, smeared from top to bottom in grime. Lucien dropped his chin, then mumbled, "I'm sorry," like it hurt to say. He laid it out. This cash was every single person's contribution back in his village, all stacked to pay his school fees. 2 weeks earlier, after Sammy and Sophia slipped into Imlan's mansion, Lucien was putting away his tools when his dad called him over, because they had a special gift picked out just for him. They couldn't believe their eyes. When they opened it, there was a whole bag of cash inside, meant to cover Lucien's school fees and his everyday costs. Sammy has already cracked the total, and Lucien just sold his paper to Milan, so that young boy's sitting on about 3 million ren, money bag and all. Lucien sold his paper straight up because the academy was going to swallow all his time, and if he couldn't breathe between classes, he'd never get the chance to craft magic books. Hitting 3 million still feels impossible, so where on earth did that cash actually come from? Every coin is grimy and rusted, nothing like the haul he pulled from Milan. Lucien stared at his question, mind racing, until the only answer he could find was what the whole village had already said. They'd already teamed up to help him snag his paper. Seeing the soft look on Lucien's face, he tells his son, "You're hope for everyone like us people who can't cast magic." Sure, Mulan's a solid lord, but the other nobles sneer like she's just another commoner, and they call it a failure because she can't do magic. Some villagers got stomped on, laughed at, mocked, and mistreated by noble families. So when Sammy announced his son Lucien was headed to the academy to study magic, the whole community erupted with excitement, and they opened their wallets to help the family out. Lucien is their shining beacon of hope. This bag of cash feels like a brick of doom in my hands. Lucien isn't just nobody, he's anything but special. He clawed his way back to life because his old regrets wouldn't let go, and that's the only reason he's still here today. While Lucien sinks into quiet reflection, Sammy leans in and tells his son they're set to thank Mulan, and politely refuse his offer to help cover Lucien's school fees. Sammy and Sophia decided they'd handle this right there in the village, so they gathered everyone, laid it out, and the whole crowd was instantly on board with the choice. If their plan fell apart and they couldn't scrape together the money, Sammy and Sophia were ready to beg Imlan for help, and then everything hit exactly the way he prayed for. Lucien's face lights up as he thanks his parents with a warm smile. The cash pounding in his hands isn't just money, it's the dreams of everyone, daring Lucien to change the world. Rushing back to his chat with Gertz, Lucien explains how every villager chipped in just a little so he could earn his way to the Magic Academy, and that village word hits harder than he expected. Makes Gertz clench his fists hard, then Lucien says he's from a tiny village and G's face twists into pure, unmistakable disgust. Gertz snaps at Lucien, slinging insults and calling him a filthy peasant kid just like that, because Gertz has already been doubting Lucien's noble heritage story. Looks like Gertz is finally slipping the mask. This teacher isn't just messing with Lucien anymore, he's digging into the recommendation he got from the House of Dalataler. He's so relieved he stumbled on this before the exam, because Geertz doesn't want some nobody ruining the academy's name, and Lucien knows exactly how that goes, having dealt with nobles like Geertz back in his previous life. They were hardcore purists, furious at the very idea of any bloodline mixing, and they treated anyone who was pure like they were beneath them. Lucien stays crouched, insults sliding off him, but the second Gertz spits "filthy peasants," something snaps like rage finally hits the switch. Gertz isn't just disrespecting his parents, he's spitting in the face of the whole village like they're nothing. He clearly has zero clue how hard they grind and fight every single day, yet he still dares to laugh at them. Gertz flashed a smug grin, swung his left leg up toward the crouching Lucian, and barked at the boy to lick his shoes clean, teasing the idea that he could actually let Lucian take the test. He rips into Lucian too, snapping that he better remember his place, then slaps the label peasant kid on him. Lucian glares at Gertz, jaw tight and hurt bubbling up from the teacher's brutal comments, but Gertz doesn't flinch. He even tells Lucian he could end up failing, and the second that fail gets said, Lucian's shot at staying in the academy is basically gone. Gertz pushes forward, locks onto the cash sitting on the ground like it's calling his name. He slams into the spell with a kick, convinced Lucian has no business casting magic using coins this dirty. Lucian's patience finally snaps. The young sage slowly rises to speak, and Gertz better not call his parents or the villagers' hard-earned money dirty. Sure, some coins might look old or slightly grimy, but each one is proof of what everyone pitched in to help Lucian. This matters a lot to the young wise one, because in the village, most families are barely getting by. Gertz just shrugs it off with a laugh. Dirty money stays dirty, whether it's sprawled on the ground or sealed up in a bag. Before, my only dream was to share my magical ideas and skills, anything I had to help Lucian. But that's all about to change. Now it's time for Lucian's parents and the villagers who rally behind him. For anyone who's been told they've got zero magic, for people everywhere who think, I can't do this. With pure grit, Lucian roars that he's ready to smash the misleading beliefs of guys like Gertz. He doesn't hesitate, he tears through the air with a savage whirlwind of dust magic. Godspeed. Gertz lets out a smug chuckle and tells Lucian to stop chasing a dead end, because that young boy is nothing more than a lowly peasant. Gertz totally misses Lucian's sudden strike, because the young sage hardens his arms and legs to diamond-level strength, then slams on impact nullification to wipe out every bit of kickback from the hit. Lucian's enchantment fixation hit, and Gertz immediately crashed into pure agony. The teacher's eyes missed Lucian's lightning-fast move, and he snaps a warning, don't you dare underestimate him. Gertz snaps his fingers and summons a spirit on the spot to blast a fire spell. A violent blast erupts, filling the air with dust and choking smoke. Then, as it clears, Gertz is sure he's finally wiped Lucian out. And he doesn't just brush him off, he mocks him straight to his face, saying real magic is what he calls spirit-calling magic, making the divide between nobles and peasants brutally obvious. As Gertz readjusts his glasses, he tears into Lucian, mocking whatever small stunt he's about to try. Gertz's jaw drops when he realizes Lucian is still standing. Lucian spits out his frustration and grills Gertz. How can someone like that call himself a teacher? Lucian took that teacher's hit on purpose just to test its power, only to get crushed by how weak it was, and honestly it's hard to wrap your head around Gertz calling that real magic. Gertz is on full alert, staring at Lucian as he hides behind the water shield, because how on earth can a kid throw magic around without a circle or even a single spell? After reassuring Gertz that it's just a simple water trick for beginners, Lucian grins and declares, all right, now it's my turn to hit back. Before Gertz could summon the spirits one more time, Lucian lunged forward and detonated a savage magic move called Triple Fang. He seized the moment and slammed a brutal punch straight into Gertz's chest. Lucian is suddenly pulled back to the moment Sammy asked him what he dreamed of for the Magic Academy. His dream never budged, he's still gunning to storm the academy and steal every bit of knowledge that already exists. Challenge the magic everyone thinks they've already missed. With one final punch to Gertz's face, Lucian drops the teacher in seconds. This is real magic. Right after the brutal showdown between Lucian and Gertz, Irina helps the young sage scramble across the ground, snatching up every last coin that's scattered everywhere. Aaron finally spots the last coin, strides right up to Lucian and thrusts it into his hands, because at last every missing coin is back where it belongs. Lucian drops his head and thanks her from the bottom of his heart for helping him, and Irina waves it off like, it's no big deal. Her smile flickers the moment she tells Lucian, she insists she's the one who should be saying sorry. Irina hated watching Gertz sling those cruel insults at Lucian without stepping in, so she swallowed her pride and apologized. Lucian first leaned in and told her not to stress because he honestly thought she handled everything perfectly, he just didn't want Irina getting dragged into his mess. Right then Gertz groaned, eyes opening wide as pain hit him hard. When Lucian asks if he's awake, Gertz snaps with pure terror. He jerks back and grills Lucian, who are you really and what the hell did you do to me? With a sharp, sarcastic grin, Lucian shoots back that Geertz's one pick was him, just an ordinary kid, and yeah, he didn't rely on skill, he relied on magic. That sparks Geertz's fury. He points at Lucian and calls him a liar. No magic, he insists, because Lucian never even said a spell and nothing like spirits ever got summoned. Geertz slams down the accusation that Lucian is cheating and roars his final verdict on the test, because in his mind, Lucian has zero magic talent and he feels like he just let him down. As Lucian watches Geertz, his stomach drops. This guy hates regular people with a ferocity that's almost unreal. So what is it really? Is he just that kind of monster, or is it simply that a kid just beat him up and he can't stand it? Now that I think about it, Sorrel felt the exact same way, because with today's magic standards, it's honestly impossible to really measure what Lucian can do. He's not sure Geertz will follow the same logic. Arena rushes in to back Lucian up, because the fact that the kid didn't summon any spirits doesn't mean Lucian's got no magic in his blood. That take is just flat out wrong. Geertz has already made his choice. Now he's in charge of the transfer exam and his word is final. He even tells Irina, clear as day, if she mouths off again, he'll come for her. Out of nowhere, this guy acts like a total sore loser. Then an old man's voice slices through the argument and orders them to stop. It's Headmaster Khan. Lucian keeps his eyes locked on the headmaster, clocking every slick move the old man makes and sweeping his gaze around like he's hunting for something. He can't help wondering if the headmaster used to be a martial artist back in the day. Geertz and Irina stand at attention right in front of Headmaster Khan, getting grilled about why they're even here. The old man leans in and says he only came after hearing a tip from Count Dodori's household. He wanted to size up just how strong this person really was. When the headmaster laughs and says he already watched the game and Geertz has really blown him away, Geertz immediately thinks, then Headmaster Khan better accept his final choice. Geertz insists Lucian never once cast a single spell, and then he throws more fuel on the fire by telling Headmaster Khan that Lucian flat out refuses to pay his tuition. Lucian snaps back fast, telling the headmaster he can actually cast magic, and then lays it all out. He already set the money aside, so Geertz's claim falls apart as pure nonsense. Headmaster Khan pauses, staring into the air like the answer is hiding there. So what if no spirit ever got summoned? Does that really mean it isn't magic? And with a sly laugh, the Headmaster Khan refuses to see a single thing wrong with the magic Lucian just pulled off. And Geertz is totally stunned, so speechless he can't even find the words. Headmaster Khan breaks down how Geertz, one of the Gastiana Kingdom's 30 chosen mages, got wiped out by a kid in just minutes. Khan calls it nothing less than magic, and that alone tells you he's got serious talent. Still, Gay goes off saying the academy shouldn't take in green soldiers and waste their time. Then he fires back that the academy's mission has always been the same: teach magic to students from respectable families and hone their abilities even more. Right after Geertz finished speaking, he cut in and made it crystal clear: Lucian isn't some noble at all, just an everyday guy. Headmaster Khan suddenly erupts into laughter. After he gets crushed by a so-called ordinary nobody with no noble blood, Geertz can't let himself insult Lucian. Garrett clenched his jaw and tried to wriggle out of the loss by insisting he was blindsided by Lucian. Headmaster Khan calls it a brilliant plan to outplay his rival, while Geertz insists Lucian totally blew his chance. And the spirits won't answer, so Headmaster Khan's rage spikes and he snaps at Geertz to shut up and finally admit he lost. Lucian can't even wrap his head around it. Geertz actually tried to claim he was surprised. He wasn't exactly pouring his heart into beating the teacher, so if Geertz is one of the 30 mages the kingdom picked with that kind of skill, Lucian can already tell the mages here, or the magic tech, is pretty weak. Once Geertz is dealt with, Headmaster Khan whips around and turns his attention to Lucian. To prove that his exam skills weren't fake and that real talent was shining through, he snatched up the failing stamp Geertz had first slapped onto Lucian's paper. Lucian tells me he wouldn't even sweat it if the academy turned him down. He'd just hunt down another school and go again, no fear, no excuses. That headmaster lets out another chuckle, realizing he almost missed a gifted kid right under his nose. Headmaster Khan already knows everything Geertz told him, especially the part where Lucian is dragging cash out of his own village to pay that enrollment fee. When someone grilled him about his goals at the academy, Lucian answers with real conviction, saying he wants to prove that even someone like him, just an ordinary guy, can use magic too, and he's chasing a world where magic isn't some weapon that cheats over non-nobles. Headmaster Khan grins at Lucian's answer, and you can tell he's genuinely blown away, because to him, it's more than satisfactory. Then he relents and lets Lucian kick off at the academy tomorrow, and Lucian can't stop thanking the headmaster for the call. Even Irina can't help but beam at the young boy, and she scoops him into a warm, tight hug. Still, Lucian can't help but feel a little on edge. While Geertz watches the kids, he leans in close and quietly asks Headmaster Khan if everything's really okay. The headmaster jabs the teacher for being a sore sport, then leans in and tells Geertz, "Don't worry, I've got a strategy up my sleeve." This plan reeks of trouble, so Lucian and Headmaster Khan hustle to the office, ready to file the boy's transfer paperwork and get him officially into Agile Magic Academy. Headmaster Khan just stamped Lucian's recommendation letter and took the tuition, and starting tomorrow, Lucian is officially stepping into Ogle Magic Academy, yay. Principal Khan dives into the class system too. This academy usually splits students into 3 groups based on rank, because figuring out what Lucian can really do with magic is exactly easy. The headmaster decided to throw him into first year, class 3. When Lucian snatches an envelope stamped with the academy's official seal, he immediately realizes the truth. Sure, the headmaster signed off on his transfer and skills, but the academy still refuses to accept his magic. That envelope isn't just paper, it's a master key unlocking magical barriers hidden all over the academy, and inside is Lucian's school ID. The headmaster Khan wastes no time warning him, "Don't you dare lose it." Lucian's eyes flare with pure wonder. He's gripping a brand new product made with today's mind-blowing tech, and now he can't stop thinking about how it smashes through magical barriers. All he wants is to sprint home, rip it apart, and figure out exactly how it works. With the headmaster done drilling Lucian's transfer details into everyone's heads, all that's left is grabbing his uniforms on the first floor. I don't think Lucian cares about that at all. He's still locked in on the envelope he just got, practically vibrating with curiosity to see what's inside. Lucian snapped a spell into place to investigate it. This is his first shot at stepping into the magic circle of this era, and he can't stop wondering if they're learning spirit magic too. But Lucian's smile snaps away and confusion floods his mind, because from afar he couldn't see it clearly at all. That envelope doesn't just sit there, it works like a strange kind of magic, nothing like the spirit magic from 500 years ago. He dives deeper, but it won't click. He can't pin down what makes it different, and it feels nothing like the spirit magic Lucian knows. The one he's clutching right now feels like it's straining towards something out there beyond the world. And just like that, a bell clangs out, and Lucian jerks back into the present, stunned. And the strangest part, he can't remember walking out of the academy at all. Even if it feels a little strange, Lucian just shrugs it off, because whenever something magical hits his radar, he vanishes into it so completely that he forgets the world exists around him. He can only dimly recall walking out with the headmaster and Geertz, like the moment slips through his fingers. Lucian glares at the envelope again, and this time the magic circle on the key cards gives him nothing new, no extra clues at all. So the real question slams him in the chest. The spirits this time different from the ones he already knows. With no answers on the table, Lucian storms out and heads home. He's dying to see Ron. Right when he steps into the inn, Ron's there, eyes brimming with tears, waiting like he's been holding his breath the whole time. Lucian scoops up his best friend in a tight hug, and you can tell they've been dying to see him again. Thompson Garrick drops in too, popping by to greet Lucian and say hello. He runs the inn in Danel, the exact same town where the Agile Academy sits. Thompson snatches Lucian up right away and fires off a question about his grades, and the kid lights up, proudly handing over his flawless scores. Thompson's cheerful laugh bursts out as soon as he hears about Lucian's results, and then he drops the real bombshell. Milan's been freaking out over him this whole time. Whispers spread that Lucian was a once-in-a-lifetime talent, one that could rewrite magic forever. After giving Lucian a soft pat on the head, Thompson ushered the young boy straight into his brand new room. Thompson and Lon clearly had history, and that's why Lucian got the nod to stay at the inn while he headed to the academy Lon had vouched for. Thompson and Lucian hauled themselves up the creaky wooden ladder to reach the boys' room as soon as they cracked the window open. Thompson rushed to Lucien with apologies about the cramped room. He usually hogs it for storage, yet Lucien just smiled, appreciating the space and thanking Thompson with full-hearted gratitude. Even if it's just an attic, Lucien feels insanely lucky to finally sleep somewhere, because this is his very first chance at his own room since being reborn. He drops onto the bed like a champ and grins as he relives his old life, soaking in every happy memory. Personal rooms used to be everywhere in the Gildorf home, but now, finding one is a real struggle. Lucien's feet finally gave out after a whole day of errands, and as the noise faded, he started to slip into sleep. While Ron flashes a smile and keeps watching, Lucien slowly slips into a deep, heavy sleep. Staring off into space, already spinning in his head about where he might have ended up. Right out of the blue, Ron plants himself in front of him. Ron's adorable face lights up, and the moment he can't hold it in anymore, tears start pouring down. As he spills the truth about how crushingly lonely he's been since Lucien went to school, he makes Lucien swear, "Promise me you'll never leave Ron again." Lucien has no choice but to say yes and snap to his fairy friend's request. Next morning, Lucien slips into his brand new uniform and steps out like he owns the day. At Agile Magic Academy, students can either rock the standard uniform or order a custom one from a specific shop, and of course Lucien went straight for the pre-made set. He can't remember it perfectly, but it looks like after he finished talking with the headmaster, he went straight to grab it. Lucien showed up at school with Ron and the whole place buzzed like a festival. Then she saw Ron clinging to Lucien's shoulder like he wouldn't let go. Lucien drags Ron over and introduces him to Irina, and she coos at the tiny fairy like it's made of pure comfort. Lucien admits he never meant to bring Ron to school, but that stubborn little fairy clung to him so hard he just couldn't let her go. Irina said pets weren't allowed in the academy, and she dared Lucien to smuggle Ron in under his coat, stuffed in his bag. Luckily, Ron's basically just harmless fluff, so Lucien can scoop him up and tuck him straight into his bag. Next, Irina jumps in and offers to guide Lucien to his classroom, then shoots a quick question: did he get his card key? And right when he replies that he did, their chat, the moment gets yanked away as someone cuts in, insults Lucien and calls him a brat. Lucien whips around and spots 3 teenage boys, and the one in the middle smirks, barking at Lucien to get lost, because this academy sure as hell isn't a daycare. They swear there's no magic you can even teach a kid like him. Wow, that's straight up rude. Maybe this kid needs a taste of what they went through. An older boy mocks Lucien for chasing the elite academy, and Lucien's convinced that having nobles in the building doesn't magically make everyone polite. He even snaps at Lucien, calling him a spoiled brat who can't handle magic, then orders him to go back home, while Lucien just stares back with a blank look. And yeah, when it comes to comparisons, these teens are the real troublemakers. Lucien snaps back and tells the boy he already has the key to prove he finished the process, so there's no reason to rush home. Then the boy loses it, screaming at Lucien for mouthing off. This time, Irina jumps in to defend Lucien. She stands up for him and snaps that the headmaster already told him he passed, and if this kid has any more problems, he can take them straight to the headmaster. The boy snaps at Irina, telling her in no uncertain terms that this isn't any of her business. But Irina digs in and defends Lucien, saying he'll attend the same school, take the same classes, and that means he's her friend. Then Lucien whips his gaze between the squabbling teens. And just like that, she spots the Irina's shaking hands, eyes wide with fear, yet she still stands her ground and takes on the bullies for his sake. These troublemakers are gunning for Lucien, and Irina has absolutely nothing to do with it, so she could have walked away, but she doesn't. For some reason, she steps in and backs Lucien because they're friends. A word from the new world that Lucien swore he'd never even heard in his old life. New friends really have each other's backs, no matter how little it seems to involve them. Out of nowhere, the kid lunges in and shoves Irina aside, barking for her to shut up and clear the way. She crumples to the ground, teeth clenched as pain twists her face. Then the kid blurts out he's gunning for the Magic Warrior title, so yeah, he's definitely not someone you want to pick a fight with. Lucien drops to a knee at the Irina in a flash, and rage is blazing in his chest. He stares at the kid and can't help wondering if this little braggart is always so smug around people he thinks are weaker, because magic warriors really get that kind of strength, don't they? The kid is seething at Lucien, warning the young sage that if he keeps pushing, he'll get hurt, just to make sure Lucien finally backs off. With that, the kid snaps his fingers and summons an earth spirit. In the arena, the instructor snaps at the boy, furious. Using magic outside of class is strictly forbidden. Still, the boy brushes off her warning and keeps hammering away at the ritual, trying to summon the spirit so he can use rebuild. As Lucian watches the kid, he can't wait to find out what kind of magic he's about to unleash. Finally, the kid's transformation is done. He's packed with muscles, especially in those arms, and he's got the nerve to flex hard and taunt Solution, daring him to admit he's too scared to say a word. Lucian is trembling, but it's not fear shaking him, it's something far deeper. He's fighting for every ounce of control, trying not to crack a laugh. One tiny slip and he's done for. The kid isn't helping at all. He's even running his mouth to Lucian, bragging that the young sage will get sent packing the second someone lands a punch on him. Rebuild is a magic that supercharges your body, flooding your limbs with raw power as mana swells those muscles right where everyone can see them. And right now, Lucian can't help but stare at this reckless kid, wondering what kind of lessons that Academy is feeding these students. If they just get how his magic theory works, this kid could finally learn the secret to supercharging his physical strength. Lucian steadies himself and realizes this older kid is pure talk, no real power behind it. It's brutal to watch someone with zero proof still act like they were there and claim they witnessed it. This reply lands wrong on the troublemaker's nerves. But Lucian's grinning, he totally planned to take that bait. The arena snaps to get a teacher fast, so Lucian's stuck dealing with the bullies right now. Lucian got the message from Arena. No magic outside class, but he's still determined to keep it all under wraps and make sure nobody ever finds out. Lucian hurls a vile dark magic spell, and suddenly wild strange shadows sprout right above the boy's head. Because of it all, the kid somehow starts catching his friend's thoughts, then gets mocked for getting picked on so weakly. As the others burst into laughter at him for clinging to the one magic spell he knows, he just smirks, because he can hear every thought in their heads and they always react the same way. Rage explodes inside him. He explodes, screaming at his friends to repeat exactly what they just said, so the two friends freeze and step back, scrambling for some reason to make their words sound better because they're just trying to put a good spin on it. Just as the kid hoists his arm to smash into his own friends, Lucian clocks the three fools going at it in a full-on brawl. He's thrilled his magic went off without a hitch, but he's got a little sting in his chest because not one of those kids even tried to fight the spell. Resist is a spell that slams a protective shield over you against magical attacks, so skipping it means charging into battle with no armor at all. Once the troublemaker shoves his friends out of the way, he locks eyes with Lucian and realizes, oh no, this is what the young sage is pulling. And then he outright admits it, he's been using resist all along. So what did Lucian do after hearing that? He went completely still. What did resist even mean? Next, the kid keeps swearing he used it first, then his rage explodes and he's charging in, ready to smash Lucian. But his fist blasts into the wall instead. At first, the kid thinks Lucian is just throwing up a shield spell until the truth hits. Lucian is deploying a mind-blowing magic tech no one has ever seen before. Technique called the threefold physical reflection. Out of nowhere, the push he throws slams back off the wall like a boomerang, and in the blink of an eye, it's the kid getting launched flying out of town. Lucian's already waiting with blazing anticipation, but his hopes crash when the kid trips. Like the young sage really did take in that force 3 times over, yet the kid doesn't fly as far as Lucian was praying for. So yeah, he never had the power to throw anyone out of town. While the kid reels from lightheadedness in the bushes, Irina bursts in with Teacher Gers right behind her. She rushes up to Lucian, fires off how he's feeling, and asks whether the bullies gave him any trouble. Girl lets out a shaky sigh of relief when Lucian tells her with a grin that he's totally fine. Teacher Gertz swept his eyes across the area, clocking 2 people in seconds, and then he demanded to know where the lioness had gone. Even though Lucian can't place who that is, the clues snap into focus. He points right at the garden bushes. Teacher Gertz's gut starts screaming that something's off about Lucian. As soon as Lucian says it was only a spar between friends, after they'd been badmouthing him, Lioness instantly snaps out of it and stops her throwing punches. After Lucian laid it all out, Mr. Gertz told him in the arena, "Don't worry, I'll handle the rest so we can go." Right when they were about to head out, Lucian's gut twisted. Why was Mr. just suddenly being so nice today after yesterday's attitude? Out of nowhere, the tiny troublemaker Lioness shows up and steals the whole scene. Jolt jerks awake from his quick nap, barrels straight at Lucian and screams at the young sage like he's about to explode. Brad slams on the brakes the moment he spots Teacher Gertz, and she immediately demands to know what he's been up to. In the blink of an eye, Lioness' confidence evaporates. Teacher Gertz snaps that using magic without permission violates school rules while Arena quietly tells Lucien it's time to move. Lucien's eyes lock onto the chat between Lioness and Teacher Gertz, because right now, Lioness is getting kicked out of the Magic Academy and the kid is scrambling to stand up for himself. Teacher Gertz lays out every detail for Linus while Lucien fires back that Linus used magic without a word and then went violent. So yeah, Linus just broke the Academy's rules and now he can't keep going as a student, they're expelling him. Seeing just how bad this got, Luce rushes to Teacher Geertz to spell out his side, and somehow it looks like he's not the one to blame. He was just obeying the professor's orders. Teacher Gertz stormed up to Linus and begged him for a favor. If Linus follows Gertz's instructions to the letter, the teacher will push for him to become a magic warrior right after school ends. That promise lights up the Lioness with pure joy. She finally gets what she's been chasing. The boy has always dreamed of becoming a magic warrior, so the moment Gertz gives instructions, he nods along, naive and all in, ready to follow every word. Leonis repeats the teacher's order, then turns his sights on Lucien, because he's got to take that kid down. Teacher Gertz slams the door on those claims and acts like he has zero clue what the student is even talking about. As Lucien listens closely, it hits him. This friendly teacher has been acting different for a reason. Teacher Garrus, craving Lucien's suffering, made Linus choke on the toughest jobs, then when the whole plan crashed, he discarded Linus like trash. Lucien's guilt hits him hard, but he doesn't back down. He strides straight up to Teacher Geertz and throws the blame on him, insisting he and Lioness both share the same responsibility. This is one of those messed up situations where a student gets slammed unfairly just for doing exactly what a teacher told them to do. Lucien has his back straight for the Lioness, pushing Teacher Geertz to finally admit that he gave the order from the very start. In total denial, the teacher plays dumb and swears to Lucien that none of it was his fault. Lucien doesn't budge, locked on the exact second Mr. Geertz burst in, and the teacher immediately snapped, asking what happened to Lioness. How did the teacher spot the Lioness as their assistant, just from two people sprawled on the ground? Teacher Gertz swings into the arena setup, telling Lucien straight up that she'd already mentioned it to him, and then warns him that Lucien and Lioness are seconds away from going at each other. But then Arena stepped in, and she didn't even bother saying anything like that. Arena was in a total rush, so she snatched Teacher Gertz aside and urgently called her over to where the boys were. The Lioness finally blurted out the truth. Teacher Gertz is the one who ordered him to hurt Lucien, and now that teacher has nowhere to hide and no more excuses to toss out. Mr. Geertz snaps into fury, barking at Lucien to shut up, then tries to throw him off with a mind game. Though it looks like he might have been ready to let the kid go, he flips the script and boots Lucien out for using magic like Lioness. Lucien keeps his cool and snaps back, "You said it yesterday, my magic isn't real magic, like so does that mean he can't actually use it at all?" Lioness, who's been crouched behind Lucien, Linus, gets totally stunned by the young sage's answer. Lucien is only a kid, but he looks absolutely massive right now. Lucien then rips into Lioness's expulsion, insisting it's not right for Teacher Gertz to make the call, because Gertz was the one who actually gave Lioness her chance in the first place. Lucien pushes for them to talk to the headmaster, someone who can see everything clearly without any bias. The moment the headmaster's name hits the air, Teacher Geertz stiffens like he got punched, instantly changing his whole vibe. Then he hesitates, insisting the headmaster shouldn't even be dragged into this because it's not serious enough for someone like him. Lucien figures the headmaster will deal with it fairly. Then the man's face lights up when Lucien's transfer to the academy comes through, while Gertz panics because he doesn't want Lucien discovering he's the one who chose to kick him out. If that's real, then everything changes. Lucien fires back at Teacher Gertz, asking if booting the Lioness out of school is really the answer, and Gertz immediately feels forced to bring the mother into it. At the same time, Lioness gets hit with emotions after Lucien's brave act. Right then, the bell blares, and their classes kick off like the start of a whole new battle. Lucien is already sprinting on his first day and he's not about to blow this off. Then everyone starts pointing the finger at Teacher Gertz for their mess, and when Lucien pressures him to answer, Gertz shoots out a nervous, low-voiced apology. Then Lucien tears into him for delivering something that's way too weak. Teacher Gertz drops to a knee, then rushes out a heartfelt apology again. Lucien can't stand what he's seeing and he urges Arena and himself to get the hell out of there. Right before they can move, Lioness slams the brakes and stops them cold. This time, a huge grin explodes across his face as he thanks Lucien for what he did earlier. He's even calling him by Lucien's name, like Brat isn't good enough anymore. The lioness drops to her knees, humbly leans in and sincerely says she's sorry for what he did. Lucien finally snaps into the truth. His own fear of looking immature was ripping at him too, so he raises a hand to make the lioness stop, laughing. Hey, I was joking too. Lioness lets out an awkward chuckle, totally unconvinced this was really Lucien's idea of a joke. Irina keeps staring at everyone lying unconscious and thinks, what the heck happened while I was hunting for a teacher? Linus rips the lid off everything and spills the whole truth. She stumbles into the arena and drops the biggest shock of all. She learns the magic Lucien used, and that spell flips Lioness's own attack right back on him, sending him hurtling through the air and out of sight. In that instant, the arena finally gets it. Lucien isn't just tough, he's physically untouchable. The young sage shrugs and tells them like it's nothing, yeah, this is actually pretty common. The lioness and the crowd chime in too, and everyone's like, wait, this is seriously unusual. Right after that, the three of them split up and march to class, while Lucien can't stop wondering if he'll finally crack the moment a sudden problem hits him right after his transfer. But yeah, somehow he's even starting to enjoy life at the academy, and he's actually making friends too. After the Gertz incident, the three just pushed through and still made it to their classroom without a hitch. But when they finally arrived, the lesson had already kicked off, so slipping in unnoticed felt damn near impossible. Irina's stomach twists with panic. She's terrified of being late for class because today's lesson is on spirology and that teacher has zero patience for tardiness. Lyanna steps up to take the first move because he's the one who threw their timing off and they're right on the edge of striking again. The door slams open and everything changes in an instant. Sorrel stands there with her hands on her hips, chewing out the trio for trying to pull a fast one. Lucien isn't exactly thrilled to have Sorrel as their teacher, but the other two are totally blown away, because Sorrel Melislin is the youngest court mage in history and they can't stop staring. Sorrel flashes Lucien a quiet signal to stay locked in, then she strolls up like it's nothing and tells them to come into the classroom, totally aware they're buzzing to see her. But yeah, now it's time to grab those seats and get ready for what's about to happen. Since the only empty spots are in the very back, the three of them slide in and claim those seats. As soon as class kicks off, Lucien whips his head to Irina and asks, is Sorrel the spirology teacher? And Irina goes, yeah, it's usually a terrifying old man. Sorrel snaps everyone's attention, declares she'll say it one last time for anyone who just showed up, and then, right from there, she takes over the class as a guest instructor for the next 2 months. Everyone can't help but gush over Sorrel. She's pure adorable, rocking gorgeous blonde hair like a real-life doll. While the praise rains down, Sorrel shoots her students a cheeky wink. He reminded them they should count their blessings to be in her classes, because she became the youngest court mage ever and it left everyone staring in disbelief. Rumors roar through the student crowd that Sorrel isn't at all what they expected. Everyone thought she was this sheltered girl, but boy, were they wrong. The moment Sorrel hears it, she snaps at everyone to go silent. But as Lucien's thoughts race, being the youngest court mage in history paints a huge target on his back. This society lives and breathes status and bias, so it's a massive achievement too, and right now, Sorrel's overbearing attitude is doing the exact opposite. Sorrel smirks right through the whispers and kicks off the spirology lesson. While class is going on, Lucien leans over and tells Ron to shut his mouth. In this time of secrets, the young wise one jots down his thoughts and watches the spirits they swear are real, and then Lucien tears out a notebook made from claw by claw he collected. The young sage just got hit with a new problem. This desk is way too big for him and he can't even fit right. His legs are too long for that desk, he can't even fit. Musk's luck runs out, Linus clocks it too, then quickly looks away so he doesn't burst out laughing again. Irina can't help but find it adorable. She's giggling at just how charming Lucien looks right now, strong or not, because he's clearly a bit on the small side. So Irina pulls him onto her lap, letting him get a crystal clear view. Even here, Lucien can't help himself. He even asks Irina if he can rest his head on her lap for a little while, and she agrees without hesitation. Because this class is packed with brand new beginners, and it's only been a month since they signed up, Sorrel grabs everyone's attention and announces that they're starting right from the magic basics. Magic works by casting a spell that yanks energy straight from a spirit, but every time you do it, your own magic gets burned up and spent. Those nobles, you can practically see the spirit's blood burning under their skin. Because they're blood relatives, they can call on their ancestors' spirits and steal their powers for a brief, explosive moment. Lucian slams his pen down the moment he hears this totally absurd claim. Nobles are children of spirits, so who cooked up this lie in the first place? He hadn't seen anything like that in 5 straight centuries. From far away, Sorrel clocks Lucian's furious reaction and realizes she's out of options. That's just how the magic school in this era rolls. Sorrel clears her throat, then pushes right back into the lesson, because when you dig into the foundations of magic, you realize it's basically a spell. Fire, water, wind, and earth, the 4 forces so powerful they can shake the whole world. And even a glowing magic circle where he chants prayers and spells, because those exact words are the prayer itself. Mana only unlocks its true power when these two click together, then you can summon the spirit's might and unleash real magic. Lucian swears he studied spirit magic 500 years ago too, same core ideas, but one weird piece still has him scratching his head. He raises his hand and leans in like he's about to ask Sorrel something important. To throw spells through magic circles, you've gotta strike a binding deal with the spirit first. And way back 500 years ago, spirit magic scholars were already championing the same wild idea. Why not ditch the magical ability, label and say they cast by linking up with a spirit? But Sorrel's mind is buzzing like crazy, and it feels to her like nothing at all has changed. But Lucian refuses to let that slide. He says it all comes down to the right information and actually understanding it, because real power only shows up when you've got the hat. Even the tiniest slip-up can twist the whole way magic finally shows itself. Everyone in the world stares at the young sage, shocked, speechless. Then Lucian cuts in and says, "Why keep talking, let's show them." He calls on Irina to unleash her usual magic. Irina snaps upright and calls forth a roaring spirit of fire, demanding it answer her command. As she chants the spell, a tiny flame sputters to life in her hands. Then Lucian blurts out his heartfelt gratitude. She's pushing for the Irina to let her use magic, while insisting she's not just a sidekick, she's an equal partner. Irina clenched her resolve, then called the fire spirit back again. The second that magic circle snaps into place and she shouts for fire, a roaring blaze explodes right in front of her. Everyone just freezes in place, words stuck in their throats, and even Irina can't believe what she's seeing. And the mana in the air suddenly felt totally different. People swear Irina must have summoned some heavyweight magic flair, but every single person heard her blurt out one word: fire. Exhaustion hits, her legs buckle under her, and she drops hard to the arena floor. She can barely process what just happened. Lucian rushes in to prove how it perfectly matches his earlier point, and everything clicks the moment she grasps the knowledge right. You can finally unleash the true power of magic. Like Sorrel's jaw drops, she feels the spirit's presence slam into her, and that agreement suddenly turns her stomach with dread. She wraps up their spirology chat in a snap and declares they're heading straight to a hands-on magic class in the exercise hall. When they finally arrive, everyone scrambles to force the exact same outcome Irina pulled off before, so Sorrel crosses her arms and snaps at Lucian that it's all his fault, and if he hadn't tossed out that weird comment earlier, he'd be fine. Lucian swears his words weren't strange at all. So what's the lesson they're learning right now? They're casting spells from a brutal 20 meters away. They're not some wide-eyed rookies who just stumbled onto magic for the first time. The young sage pushes them to fine-tune how they handle their mana and fully control their spells, even if they're already crushing it with the magic they know best. He slams his forehead in shock, and for a second he feels like he'll drop dead from the surprise. Then, just by looking at Lucian's attitude, Sorrel pushes the young sage to start practicing too. But he swears he doesn't need it. When Sorrel hears that refusal, he won't back down. He pushes an idea: "Let's try something else." Then he lays it out: if Lucian hones his magic and outshines her, Sorrel will finally spill what's on his mind. Sorrow didn't just hang around, it forced him to summon the spirits. Seeing this as the perfect shot to tap into spirit magic, Lucian wastes no time and nods. Soon they pinpoint their chosen target spots. When that signal blares, they'll each hurl spells straight at their own targets, and the winner won't be the fastest one, it'll be whoever hits with the sharpest accuracy. Irina snatches the lead, throws her hand up and yells, "Go." So Lucian and Sorrel call forth the spirit of the wind, right on cue. Just like that, they both shout, "Arrow." A razor-sharp gust, shaped like an arrow, rips from Lucian's hand and nails the target dead center. The crowd explodes into cheers as Lucian nails a perfect shot. They had no idea magic could be controlled like that, until they stared at Sorrel's target and saw it hadn't shifted one single bit. Sorrel panics and stares at her own hands, totally baffled as her magic refuses to light up. Lucian stayed icy calm and told her straight up that he'd been the one who stopped her magic. Since it didn't break any rules, he figured, why not, and went for it. And now, Sorrow's curiosity is through the roof, because this basically screams that Lucian's pulling off some weird, one-of-a-kind magic like he's juggling spells and responsibilities all at once. Sorrow totally froze because nobody else in the whole kingdom could pull off something like that. Lucian goes silent, stunned by the bombshell he just heard, because he always thought only a few could pull something like that off. Yeah, this proves technology's standards have dropped so far, it's basically hit rock bottom. Lucian leans in and asks if court mages even use resist, and Sorrel hesitates, because it never even crossed her mind that anyone would crash her plan. With a sharp grin, Lucian drops his guard and apologizes to Sorrel for pulling the wool over her eyes. And she realizes her resistance will send his magic shooting right back into him. Sorrel's standing there with his arms crossed tight, and the students are all nodding in agreement with Lucian. This snaps Sorrel into a way happier mood, because as long as it isn't a magic she hasn't learned yet, Lucian's real magic won't touch her. Sorrel rallies everyone to keep pushing through training, and Lucian can't help smiling. Seeing Sorrel cheerful again feels so good. Lucian snaps his eyes to his hands. While he's thinking about the spirits, he realizes it's been ages since he last practiced magic. Then he feels their power and it hits him as something completely alien. Wait, what asterisk are spirits exactly? Lucian leaned in, hooked by the mystery. He swivels towards Sorrel and fires the question, have you ever run into a spirit in this world? When Lucian asks if she can describe what it looks like, Sorrel shoots back that she hasn't seen it. Sorrel blurts out that the four great spirits are really the forces of fire and water. Lucian's lost in thought again, like the spirits he knows are whispering in his head. He snaps back to reality when Arena strides over and asks if he's into spirits, and if he's being real, he can't help but feel a little curious. So, the Arena suggests they meet up after school to dig through the archives together, because there might be books on spirits in there that could finally help Lucian uncover the truth he's been chasing. Arena jumps in to help Lucian get there, and he's genuinely grateful for it. Sorrel's been watching their exchange this whole time, and when she sees Lucian finally wrapped in real friends, joy floods her, and relief hits like a breath she didn't know she needed. Arena rushes up to Sorrel and wastes no time. She introduces herself as Lucian's friend. After they traded friendly words with Arena, she stares down Lucian and bluntly confirms it, yeah, it's all true. She finally lets out a breath of relief. Sorrel admits she'd been terrified for Lucian because he's different, and that's exactly what gets him targeted. Sure, they call it an academy, but it's really just a fancy spot where people bully you and flaunt themselves. Lucian instantly realizes Sorrel didn't just show up, she came as a special lecturer because she's worried about him. But Sorrel waves it off and says Lan's tutoring has slowed down, so she suddenly has way more free time. Irina flashes a grin at Sorrel and tells her, straight up, that she's a genuinely nice person. That confession hits, and her cheeks instantly flare red. She bolts off, hissing SHH, and warns them, if you don't speed up you'll miss the next class. Irina and Lucian can't see eye to eye, but Sorrel stays the gentlest soul in the whole chaos. Irina and Lucian head for the archives, strolling like they've got no idea what's waiting just ahead. Lucian spills the story of his friendship with Sorrel, telling Sorrel that so much has happened since they first crossed paths, and through it all, Sorrel has been his hero, helping him in ways he can't even begin to repay. Irina finally gets it, why Sorrel refuses to leave Lucian alone at the academy, and when she feels the same pull, she knows Sorrel isn't just being careful. Because Lucian may be small, but he's absolutely unforgettable. Is it his charm that reels her in, or the energy that hits like a thunderclap? Because the Arena girl still can't quite figure out what's got her hooked. She just can't pry her eyes off it. That's exactly how she feels, and before the fear can sink in, they hurry straight into the archives. Inside, tons of books crowd the shelves. Welcome to the Agile Magic Academy's library. Arena grins and suggests they split up and hunt for books about spirits, right after they rummage through that pile of books. In the arena, she finally snaps, she's done hunting, and she declares she won't find a thing worth using. Lucian's still glued to his book, but he nods along like he already knows the truth. He hunted everywhere for answers about spirits, and all he found were books with barely a hint of anything. It just doesn't make sense. People swear by it like it's real, so something magical is definitely pulling the strings. Down to what we call spirits. If it's tech progress that doesn't match his own, Lucian shrugs it off as real magic, and tells himself he's got a whole world of secrets waiting to be uncovered. They're still spreading straight-up misinformation, just like they did in that spirology class. Even the top students, Gertz and Sarl, can barely show any real power. Lucian's convinced it all traces back to people from 500 years ago who were still leaning on that ancient, old magic. And somehow it all feels worse now. Just as he hunts down another book, Irina swoops in to help him grab the ones he can't reach. She's stunned to see him just floating there, and even Ron is levitating too. It's like gravity got thrown out, all powered by the magic of wind particles. Lucian calls it the simplest trick, one that breathes magic into the world like it's alive. Irina's eyes go wide, she's completely stunned. To her, Lucian wasn't just using magic, he was wielding something totally unlike anything they'd ever seen. As Lucian slams back onto the ground, Irina snaps into focus. He can control water, fire it like a weapon, and now he's literally slicing through the sky, while Irina can't do a single thing like that, but she still finds something to admire in him. Lucian swings his gaze back to her. There's magic in him, the kind nobody else can do. But if he spills his secret, will she shut him out too, like Gertz did? Watching the sweet, innocent Irina charm Ron, Lucian suddenly snaps to the truth. This girl's nothing like that, so he moves to grab her attention and pleads with her to keep an open mind as he starts spilling the truth about magic. Irina and Lucian storm out of the archives, then crash onto a bench to catch their breath. Lucian leans in and tells her point blank, his magic doesn't come from spirits. Instead of showing on the outside, it slips straight into him through his mana organ, this special part of his body. The mana organ doesn't just sit there, it chews up mana and spits out real magic. 500 years back, the discovery of this organ shook everything, smashing the old idea that you need a spirit to cast magic. Lucian sparks a tiny flame in his palm, then tells them the truth. Every single person is born with a mana organ inside their body, and that's why Lucian can cast magic on the fly without circles or spellwork. When Irina asks if she gets one too, Lucian shoots back a quick, confident yes. Irina pressed a hand to her chest, stunned by the thought, while Lucian let out a quiet rush of relief, because she still hadn't brushed his words aside. He admits to Irina that he totally understands how brutal it feels to take in this new info so fast, yet Irina shoots back that for her, it's nothing at all. It might sound different coming from anyone else, but the second Lucian talks, it hits like the truth, real, undeniable, and straight from the heart. And here's the twist, Lucian doesn't cast a single spell. Every move in his fight against Gertz is powered straight from his mana organ. Now it all finally clicks. Lucian just shared it with the Irina, and everything falls into place. Lucian's grinning ear to ear as he sees and hears the Irina finally gets it. From Lucian's words, Irina finally realizes the truth. Magic isn't locked behind spirit blood at all. Anyone can reach it. As soon as Lucian confirms it, the Irina's mind starts racing with every new detail. So what's the real deal with this lesson about being tied to spirits, and why do they say nobles are descended from spirits? And that's when the spirits open the door for Therm's magic, no question about it, yet Lucian can't shake his doubts. He's convinced that if more townspeople dared to embrace magic, the whole community would explode into prosperity, and magic should stay reserved for a select few. She cradles her own face in her hands inside the Irina, like the world is crushing down on her. And points out how that grown-up solution really shows up. Standing next to someone like her, hungry to sharpen her magic and truly understand it, Irina suddenly gets hit with shame over the selfish thoughts she had. Lucian leans in and tells her, "You're not selfish at all," and her answer slams him straight back to his younger days, the time he was starving for knowledge all for himself. Irina can't stop thinking about it. She's determined to climb her way up to the training school for court mages. Irina is chasing a bigger destiny. She wants to carve her name into the world as a court mage. If she flunks, she'll get shipped off to marry some nobleman from the nearest town. Then she locks eyes with Lucian and asks straight up what his plan is once graduation hits. If everything clicks at the Magic Academy, Lucian could wrap up his studies in just 3 years, and Mulan is already pushing him to lock in and commit to being a real mage. But Lucian, he's got a totally different plan. He tells Irina his dream, he wants to become a court mage just like her. It's been living in his head ever since he saw how the students reacted to Sorrel in class today, because a 6-year-old bragging about magic, nobody's supposed to take that seriously. Lucian can't just talk, he needs the right title and a chance to prove his skills before he dares to share his ideas with the whole world. Even when Irina believed Lucian's story, Lucian knew the truth. She wasn't being fooled, she was just the honest, straightforward type. If Lucian lands the role of a court mage, the kind everyone dreams of, more eyes will lock onto him than ever before. Lucian swears he'll grind through his studies, claw his way to becoming a court mage, and uncover the truth behind spirits. The two friends lock eyes, promise they'll go all out one last time and then head home. Irina tells him to ditch the academy tomorrow because it's the weekend, and that's when Lucian finally comes home. Thompson corners him to find out how his very first day of classes went. Lucian is completely speechless. He bolted in with Linus, sure he was late for his very first class, only to realize Sorrel was the teacher, and that somehow turned into a magical duel. Instead of dragging it out, Lucian flashes a grin and tells Thompson he had an awesome day. Then he steps up and offers to help with whatever the inn needs. Since there are no classes tomorrow, Lucian can't wait to jump in and help out at the inn. Thompson can't help but admire how ready Lucian is to step in and help, and he praises him for that rock-solid maturity. He then offers to team up with Lucian to handle the cleaning until dinner, and Thompson finally slips away from the third-floor hallway, leaving that empty room in Lucian's hands. Thanks to Mulan, Thompson pulled off a sweet deal, food in the belly and a room for Lucian at a price he could actually afford. Helping him was the only way he could properly show how grateful he was. Next day, Thompson shoves Lucian a pail bucket and Lucian snaps it up with a grin, then uses gravity to drag that water-filled thing wherever he wants. He jumps in and mops the floors, scrubbing every inch until they shine. While Lucian rids the floor of grime with a hard rinse of the dirty mop. He stares at the water and realizes it's already turned pitch black, while Lucian figures out that hauling it down from the third floor again and again would be a total nightmare. He locks onto one solution, and only one, and then he unleashes the special power God gave him. Lucian hurls a spell and rips open a doorway through space, yanking one place straight into another. If Lucian steps in and sets up a drain for that filthy water, he can wipe out the waste in a flash. Then he'll grab some water and scoop up fresh, clean supply. Lucian's got a million questions running wild, and he's still trying to figure out why Thompson was staring at him before this all even kicked off. Thompson's eyes bulged as he caught the magic in action. One bucket slid on its own, sloshing out filthy water, while fresh water magically appeared with no trip back to the well, and he was absolutely stunned. Lucian's talent blew me away. Suddenly, Lucian's eyes catch a stacked pile of wood just sitting nearby. Tomozan then says he'll deal with it later, while this afternoon, Thompson is ripping apart a damaged chair piece by piece. Lucian leaned in and asked Thompson to let him keep some of the pieces, and when Thompson nodded yes, he immediately fired back. What exactly did Lucian plan to do with the wood? Lucian's mind flashes back to earlier days when that young sage was still learning how to use the items in the storage room, and that's when Lucian spots a broken broom. Lucian plans to unleash blacksmith magic to shape the wood, and then seals the whole thing by summoning a shadow helper as the final touch. In the end, a golem is what's left, and Thompson's jaw drops the moment he sees it. Lucian snaps in that it can copy his moves, so cleaning goes twice as fast. The golem starts tidying up on its own, and when Thompson sees it working so effortlessly, his jaw drops in pure disbelief. Amid the chaos, Sorrel starts muttering under her breath and storms out of her room. Lucian stares in shock, because the court mage is right there at the end too. Sorrel hurriedly blurts out that she's only here to teach at the academy, and Mulan was the one who dragged her to this exact spot. Then Sorrow leans in and demands what that noise earlier was all about. She jerks back in panic as the golem slings its wooden hand straight at her. She screams in terror, asking what in the world the creature is, then Lucian grins and cheerfully reveals it's a golem, and she realizes he just made it. When Sorrel hears it, he's instantly thrown off. Golems are supposed to be ancient weapons, and nobody even fully understands how their power works. It's magic the court mage has never seen, so Thompson can't stop staring, even more shocked than before. When Sorrel storms back to her room, she swears she's never seen the golem and insists it was all a dream, because after all that teaching, she's clearly running on fumes and needs to crash. As soon as she shuts the door, Lucian and Thompson head back to their jobs at once, right after that. A couple days later, right there at school, the headmaster slammed everyone's attention into the room, calling every teacher together for a meeting. Everyone's on edge because this urgent meeting could be about anything, and nobody wants to guess what's coming. This morning, the headmaster slammed the news down. He just received a message from the kingdom's Ministry of Magic. He got an order to let a few students join the next big beast control mission, and he already has one specific kid he's got in mind, like for real. Just one, come on, no matter what this procedure is, let's pray it brings Lucian more good than damage. The headmaster drops the announcement and every teacher in the meeting goes wide-eyed. Meanwhile, the students picked for the beast control task, that list feels way too much even if the Ministry of Magic is the one who signed it. The Ministry of Magic is where the court wizards grind and fire up their spells, and it's the big organization running the Magic Academy. The headmaster demands total silence and swears up and down that the Ministry of Magic promised him the students won't be thrown into danger, because they're absolutely going to join the beast control mission. But their main job is to haul the supplies and keep everything running smoothly behind the scenes. The adventurers and the white-winged knights are gearing up to lead the assault, protecting the whole region as they clash with the beasts. The headmaster is convinced nothing could scare these students into joining the fight, and now, with a calm sorrow, the whole plan is crystal clear. She remembers how, back at the academy, they hauled her out for the same kind of job, calling it logistic support, but to her, it felt like they were using her as nothing but a gopher. She sees this as the perfect shot for students to finally taste real battlefield experience. Then the headmaster says the Ministry of Magic wants around 30 participants, so everyone's heading for the forest, packed with dangerous creatures, and they'd better pick the most skilled students. The headmaster snaps and demands the teachers pick the students and start a list right now. In just 2 weeks, this whole event kicks off, and the headmaster hands Jerry and Hannah the job of steering the students. They both snap into action and immediately take on the responsibility. This afternoon, a notice is going up on the signboard outside the classrooms to let the students know what's coming. Sarah lets a small grin slip out as she imagines Lucian's reaction the moment he hears the news. The moment the meeting wraps up, the students swarm around the bulletin board, eyes locked on the notices like they're desperate to find out what's coming next. But while everyone else follows the rules, Lucian just shrugs at the whole control operation like it's nothing. Leaving Irene stunned, the lioness couldn't believe Lucian's reaction, like he'd bashed his head or something. Irene honestly believed Lucian would be thrilled, then Lucian just couldn't stop wondering what these two think of him. He's totally hooked on that knight's magic, but he knows they'll never step onto the front lines. His gut tells him they're stuck doing support and logistics, and for him, that boredom is crushing. Yeah, but now that Lucian finally spilled his thoughts, the two friends get to see things from his point of view. That's the same Lucian they all know and expect, until Irene steps in and blurts out her curiosity about these control operations, and it turns out that if you sign up, it'll actually land on your graduation certificate as an accomplishment. But the moment this news hit, Lucian's eyes snap to it, because the teachers won't just toss out anyone, so there's almost no chance they'll drop the three of them into the selection as a full set. But hey, it can't hurt to try, because right now Irene's biggest dream is to finally succeed. Linus even dares them to shoot their hands up in class every time they need the teacher's attention. Right in the middle of the discussion, Lucian bursts in and admits his mind has completely changed. His eyes gleam with fire as he declares, loud and clear, that he's going to join the control operations team. Irene can't stop grinning when she sees Lucian locked in with iron resolve, and Linus is right there hyping the whole crew. Every single one of them is going to push themselves hard to win some serious favor. So they lock in the plan to start in the next class, even if it's a little terrifying. They all spill outside and their teacher Hannah starts laying it out, pointing out that a strong, healthy body fuels a sharp, healthy mind. Irene and Lioness instantly lose the thrill when they realize it's time to dive into teacher Hannah's martial arts class. After all, he's a retired knight, so now Linus is scrambling to rethink his plan because he just can't charm Hannah's stubborn, bossy streak. Today, teacher Hannah bursts in and kicks off a talk about the power of praise. Lucian nearly dropped his jaw when he discovered the Magic Academy teaches martial arts too. As Lucian stared at his wooden dagger, he realized it fit his current form perfectly, and he understood one brutal truth: when mages get trapped, they're just like scarecrows, so he needed to master weapon use fast. At that exact moment, Lucian tunes in to his classmates grumbling about the lesson, because to them, guns and swords are ancient history and they've already stepped into a world of magic, so why learn weapons at all? Even Irina can't help wondering if this class is truly worth it compared to the magic classes they're used to, and as Lucian hears the name Magic Era, he realizes with dread in his gut that this is one thing he can't run from. Everyone's sleeping on the real danger. Weapons are way more powerful than they think. Even though every person here has never faced a real battle, your history class keeps insisting the last big war in this country was around 300 years ago. In that split second, Lucian realizes weapons might just be a pain, because they don't hit as far and you've got to train with them all the time, unlike magic. Once Hannah finishes, he snaps into action, everyone pairs up and faces off across from each other. Another girl yells for Irina right then and there. Irina whips her gaze to Lucian, torn because she knows he'll be alone if she leaves, but Lucian flashes a smile, tells her not to worry and pushes her to go. Irina dropped a quick heartfelt apology, then spun on her heel and vanished. Then bam, his head felt a gentle hand. Teacher Hannah stepped forward, ready to team up with Lucian. With her sword held out, she warns the class that mastering their power won't be easy against Lucian. So Teacher Hannah steps in and tells him to brace himself and stand his ground, letting the boys swing at him without a shred of worry. Lucian shoots a grateful look back at his teacher and basically mouths, "Thank you for everything you've done for me." Lucian stepping into his first real sword swing in this body, and this is his moment to find out just how fast, sharp, and responsive he can be. He's dead set on giving it everything he's got. When Teacher Hannah spots Lucian, memories hit her hard. Sorrel once bragged about his magical skills and now he's only 6 years old. Hannah draws a breath and reminds herself to handle the kid with care. Out of nowhere, he suddenly feels a razor-sharp tip pressed right against his throat. Hannah stared at Lucian with eyes so wide they looked like they might pop. Wait, could that be a sword spirit? The pain was so brutal he swore something stabbed straight through his throat. Wait, why is there a little kid standing right in front of Hannah? Hannah finally clocks she totally misjudged Lucian just because he's only 6 and now she gets it, he can be himself fully with no limits. With a grin, Lucian admits he hasn't trained with a sword either, same for both of them. Once Hannah gives the signal, he barrels straight for Lucian. Hannah closes in like a runaway train, full speed and zero mercy. Lucian instantly clocks the teacher's move, a deadly thrust that's all about driving in with his own body right where the target is. Good news for Hannah, because if Lucian eats even one hit, he's getting blown apart. But Lucian knows exactly how to tuck himself under Hannah's chest in this kid form. Lock in on one goal and pour every ounce of your effort straight into it. Lucian snaps Teacher Hannah's control with expert precision. Hannah's on the ground, and that alone throws him completely off balance. He can't shake it. Lucian has skills way too wild to just be some ordinary village kid, right? Lucian isn't just a magic prodigy, he swings a sword like a champion too, and when he drops to one knee before Hannah, she can't stop staring, shocked that this kid is packed with talent. Once Hannah clenched her fists and steadied her breath, ready to move. He drops into a seat and studies Lucian's dagger like it's a legend, shocked that Lucian could wreak all that damage using nothing more than a simple wooden training blade. Because Hannah's a seasoned knight, he'd studied Lucian's techniques long before, and when it was his turn, he drove extra force and slammed his full weight onto the dagger's tip, crafting a razor-perfect defense that even bigger, stronger enemies couldn't break. After Lucian pours out his gratitude for the razor-sharp insight, Hannah leans in and fires the question, where did this kid learn to fight with a sword? Even with his face and age, Lucian's stuck in a brutal mess, because he can't just tell his teacher, yeah, this is from my past life. Exactly, back in his past life, Lucian had trained hard and mastered a deadly mix of brutal hand strikes and sharp swordplay. Lucian didn't want to throw punches, he craved a smarter defense, so he studied how attacks worked and what powered them, then quickly cracked the code on how to keep himself safe. Plus, the mana organ is a real piece of your body, so when you train and strengthen it, your magic hits harder and charges up way faster. Lucian, a total perfectionist, threw himself into training and devouring martial arts while he was off from magic research. Even after he was reborn, he didn't slow down for a second. Training stayed in his bones like a habit he brought straight from his past life, and every third round it flipped into a savage game of tag with Anna. If he tells Hannah this, she'll think he's totally weird, and the way it comes off, it's gonna feel sketchy as hell. Lucian has to find a crack in the chaos, some way to slip out before this situation swallows him whole. Lucian's master plan is to whisper to Hannah that it's a secret, so the teacher doesn't dig any further, just chuckles and tells Lucian they can let the whole thing go. Hannah can't help but stare at Lucian and wonder why he's even at the Magic Academy when he can swing swords and throw magic. Because honestly, she thinks it'd make more sense for some terrifying powerhouse to show up instead, transformed just as a prank. Lucian's face goes stone cold as he explains, he learned the kind of magic it takes by digging deep into knowledge itself. He's convinced that grabbing the unknown by the throat is the only way to forge real strength. Teacher Hannah explodes into laughter when Lucian, this little kid, jokes that soon nobody will even need a teacher anymore. Lucian drops a bombshell and admits he doesn't come from any noble bloodline. Even if he fights his way into a prestigious school, people will still size him up in seconds, because he's just the farmer's son. Lucian can't just coast anymore, he needs a whole new shot to prove he deserves his place. Hannah shoots up, nodding like everything he said clicks perfectly, and then, right as he brings up Lucian, he admits he's starting to wonder if origins even matter at all. This sparks a tiny flicker of hope in Hannah's chest. Maybe, just maybe, he could have been able to wield magic too. Lucian flashes back to Leonis and tells them straight up, Hannah, their teacher, is a ruthless fighter. When Lucian asks about it, Linus explains that they're knights who fight with raw physical skill, not magic. Then he points straight at Hannah. Lucian flashes him a confident smile and says, yeah, you've got this, because that's what magic is all about. He snaps his eyes shut, and then bursts into loud laughter out of nowhere. After that, he pushes Lucian to hit up different schools and prove he shines even without noble blood, because Lucian doesn't just get the title, he has to earn it. And even pitches the idea of night school for him after graduation. Teacher Hand tenderly rubs Lucian's head like a warm blessing. And he shrugs it off like it's totally normal, just a guy chasing another guy's dream. No big shock, no drama. Then another student blurts out a question to Teacher Hannah. As he barrels toward the group, he leans into Lucian and blurts that they're getting one more game later. The class wrapped up in a flash, and just like that, it was time to leave. Before they rushed out, Teacher Hannah made everyone pause and stretch first. When Lucian finally catches up with Lioness and Irina, he looks totally wrecked, like he's run through hell to get there. Seeing that, Linus grumbles about how exhausted he is, and Lucian flaps his hands, trying to insist he's only a little lightheaded. His two friends understand why, because Lucian battled Teacher Hannah in class 5 straight times and won every single match, shocking everyone. You'll be shocked to learn Hannah, the old leader of the Silverwing Knights, is the one keeping peace in this region, because she fights on the front lines, stepping forward like a human tank and shielding everyone just by being there. Linus argues that getting Hannah to submit would normally be downright unthinkable. But once Lucian realizes Hannah used to be a captain, it all clicks. Suddenly her every move makes perfect sense. Without warning, Lucian's strength slips away, his eyes dull, his body buckles, and he starts to lean toward the arena. Lucian's body is screaming enough and no way this is okay. 5 times was all he could take, no matter how hyped he felt, and it's only after he tells Irina sorry that things move on. His eyes droop and he drifts off to sleep. Irina suddenly decides to hoist Lucian up on her back with a piggyback ride. As the lioness yanks every bag into place, Teacher Hannah watches her 3 friends stride out and feels her heart recharge with a fresh start. Hannah keeps pushing himself even though he can't do magic, so who would have guessed it? One day, a little kid shows up and blows right past him. As Teacher Hannah finally sits down, he grimaces hard, writhing in pure discomfort. His body armor is still standing strong, but something inside him has to be wrecked. Bruises cover him, and he's likely got a couple broken ribs too. Then he spots Lucian's old wooden dagger and snatches it up in one vicious grab. After a close stare, Han realizes it carries 0 magic, just a plain old wooden dagger, no tricks at all. Hannah bursts into laughter, brimming with pure joy, dropping her guard completely and unleashing real damage without a single spell. Who'd ever think something like that could happen? Because Hannah is now fully convinced that Lucian's sword skills have somehow hit an insane, next-level peak. Later, Lucian jolts awake and freezes. Irina's carrying him like it's no big deal. Thank goodness he's awake, because Irina was about to rush to the infirmary. Lioness had already slipped off to the classroom to drop their bags, and the moment Lucian mutters, "Sorry for the mess, he scrambles out of the arena. This hits him like a slap. He has to train harder now because he definitely pushed too far and zoned out, and his energy is still running wild like a kid who won't sit still. Irina tells Lucian the next lesson's classroom is a bit far, then offers to lead him there, right as everything starts to happen. Lucian suddenly hears a strange noise spilling out from the next room. Then he blurts out to Irina, "I'm sorry," and admits he just remembered he has another commitment to keep. As Lucian turns away, he flicks a sharp look into the room where the noise is blasting from. He spots teacher Jers, and the intensity on his face screams that he's locked onto something big. He mutters under his breath, grumbling like he's already fed up. He's furious he has to deal with these tiny chores, because come on, he's one of the kingdom's 30 chosen mages. Lucian can't stop wondering what Jers is cooking up next. As he steps in for a closer look, he spots the magic practice targets, and then he realizes Gurs is out there fixing them all by himself. The one Jers is holding, it's the exact same piece Sorrel and Lucian were messing with in class. Lucian decides to make his move, walks right up to Jers and confronts him face to face. Right then Garrus finally realizes he isn't alone in the room anymore. Lucian catches Jers's irritation instantly, because that scowl practically screams off his face the moment he spots Lucian. While Jers keeps working, he keeps grumbling that he's stuck with this mess. Lucian has been non-stop, tweaking the target, cleaning up the classroom, shuffling things around, watering the plants, and doing even more. The principal is showering Lucian. Yeah, the country boy Jair keeps sniping about with extra kindness, even though he doesn't need it, and while Jair's ranting, Lucian has no clue any of this is going down after the entrance exam. Jers says he's not done yet, because in his eyes, magic should only belong to nobles with strict rules that crush anyone who'd scam people by pretending it's real magic. Jur explodes, screaming that Lucian is the one to blame for everything. Then the new teacher he thought finally arrived turns out to be Sorrel, a former court mage with a higher rank than he's got, and the moment he starts calling her arrogant, all it does is make his frustration worse because he's still stuck blaming Lucian. Lucian stays stone still while Garrus rambles on, filling the air with nothing but words. Out of nowhere, Jers gets hit with an insane idea, and just like that, everything changes completely. And now he's smirking at Lucian, then he drops a mission on his plate, make every target look exactly the same. Lucian shuts it down fast, he's not interested at all, and once Jer finishes fixing everything, he tries to lure him with a treat, but Lucian isn't some innocent kid you can sweet-talk. Wait, so is that really the plan? Besides, he's got class waiting and Jers pushes him to tell the teacher he's on this mission for him because Jers swears that if he's just a little late, nobody's going to make a big deal out of it. Then Jers bursts out of the room like a shot, and Lucian has to pick up the job right away. The escape happened in a blink, and when Lucian realizes he's one of the 30 selected mages, it hits him. This kingdom is insanely powerful. With no other choice left, Lucian throws himself into his work. He locks onto one target and tears it apart piece by piece, checking just how badly it's been wrecked. Lucian can fix these just like it was said. But because every target is the exact same size, it won't sharpen the student's accuracy. Sure, it works at first, until they get used to it and stop treating it like real training. And he had some seriously good materials ready to go. Lucian decides to reinvent his old training tool, turning it into a simpler, sharper version. He rips into the work using his magic, then later Sorrel steps up to teach a tactical magic class. This time, everyone gets to fire their spells at targets again. She tells the students to slow down and really think before they trigger their magic, then focus on landing the hits first, because once they feel steady, Sorrel pushes them to go for flawless accuracy. Sorrel notices a few targets are gone and Lucian snaps into action. Those targets weren't missing, they were damaged, so he rolled out quick upgrades. Sorrel has no clue the shadows are creeping up behind her as she asks about the upgrades, and she's totally blindsided by how much there is to consider. She just trusts that Jers is taking care of the repairs. Sorrel snaps around, terror slamming into her as she stares at the twisted creations. Lucian unleashes colorful, moving targets he crafts with dark magic. The wooden targets are splashed in brown, green, blue, and red, but trust me, they're not exactly getting the friendly welcome you'd expect. Sorrel barrels up to Lucian and blurts, "Okay, what are these exactly, tell me." Lucian snaps that they're still targets on the move, yet Sorrel can't afford to panic about that right now because the students are brand new and still unsure they can even cast magic correctly. Meanwhile, those moving targets keep their eyes locked on them. Without warning, it snaps up those wooden arms and hurls a spell straight into the air. Then it lashes out at the students, panic erupts as they bolt, terrified of those puppets that unleash magic. Sorrow keeps drilling Lucian with a furious lecture, swearing these newcomers don't have a prayer against those golems. Right as she speaks, a moving target slams into the back of her head and cuts her off instantly. Smashing the moment he knocked her clean out. Lucian snatches the room's focus, shouting that the wooden puppets won't stop. So tell me, do they really plan to get beaten down by something that's just a puppet? Feeling the spark, the students snap into action, and when it's all said and done, they realize their enemy was just a bunch of puppets. All they've got to do is sprinkle a little magic on it, right? Their counterattacks hit the wall every single time. It hit the puppets and somehow left zero mark. Yet they just keep hammering forward, grinding their way ahead and flat out refusing to quit. As Lucian watches his classmates, it hits him, magic or not, they're basically just launching a blazing ball of mana. He spots the perfect second to trigger it by watching the magic circle bloom under their feet, because the more they panic, the more they botch everything. Right now, the students are totally panicking, shoulder-checking each other in chaos, while one of them is seething because everyone else refuses to step in and help the kids who can actually use their magic. One person snaps that nobody's going to boss them around, and the arena girl jumps in like, "I'm done with all of it." Thank goodness Lucian's only puppeteering. If those people were really on a battlefield, they'd have been wiped out already. One student lunges to smash the puppet with water magic, and honestly that swing is solid. But the puppet won't fall, it stands there refusing to move. Another student throws reflect magic at a fresh puppet, still nothing. Lucian's wooden puppets are about to unleash a whole new kind of magic, then he rigs it so his classmates can beat them just by locking in and using their brains. Lucian already tossed out a clue, and as Irina watches the pieces click into place, it hits her like a shock. Then she flicks her hand toward the fabric knotted around the puppets' necks. Irina thinks this could reveal the true color of their connection. Right as Lucian predicted back in the arena, this was the exact clue he'd warned everyone about. Out of nowhere, Lucian suddenly feels someone closing in. Linus is fired up, and in moments like this he insists they should stop hiding and charge straight at the spellcaster. Lucian stares as the lioness closes in, and yeah, because wizards exist like that, it's honestly a smart move. But since Lucian is puppeteering everything with machines, trying to fight him is basically pointless. The puppets won't stop attacking just because Lucian is gone, unless someone puts them down, so Linus' fist locks up a split second before it lands. His knees hit the ground as the memory of losing to Lucian crashes back, because deep down he knows he can't beat his own friend. The lioness is fighting for breath, and when Lucian asks what's wrong, she shuts him down with a sharp, "Be quiet." Right then, Irina grabs her chance. She unleashes fire and blasts one of the puppets with her plan. Everyone, including the arena, can't believe it when the puppet suddenly goes down. Then she tells the whole crew that the puppets shove away bad connections, and right on Irina's command she makes them channel fire into the red puppet and water into the blue one. Everyone locks in together, syncing their breathing and settling into a steady, calm rhythm as they move as one. Soon, the crowd explodes into cheers as they finally tear down the 4 puppets. Lucian strides over, clapping hard and cheering everyone for the win. Who would have guessed they could shatter his wooden puppets and make mana fire burst out of them? Luckily, Lucian never tried to copy his move with the shadow supporter right as everyone thought it was finally over. Lucian dropped the bombshell that there's another shot coming, swearing he knows some people aren't satisfied with how it ended, so he's gearing up for a new match soon, urging everyone to throw everything they've got at the next round. Everyone's begging for it to stop, because nobody's ready to go through that again. But Lucian's convinced that after they make the adjustment, he'll have to crank the challenge up even higher. Meanwhile, Sorrel jerks awake inside the clinic.